What's up, beautiful humans? It's your boy, Nikki Mayhem here from Pronoun Human Studios, and I want to welcome you to the ground floor of this brand new podcast that I'm doing with my brother, Matthew Rele. It started out as just a segment on pronoun_human, where it was, interviewing him for people you should know, but it turned into a much lengthier conversation, and we started touching on some really awesome, raw, and real situations I think that a lot of people have in this world, and so I hope you'll get into it. Maybe there's something that'll resonate with you. At the very least, I hope you're entertained. Welcome to Same Blood, Different Battles. How's it going? This is Nikki Mayhem, and this is People You Should Know. Today I'm talking to my brother, Matthew Rele. Say what's up, Matt. How you doing, man?
What's up, bro? Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. As you know, I like to talk to fucking interesting and beautiful, amazing human beings, the things that make the world go round, that make this world what it is, man. So, anything you want to start off with, or do you want to just fucking get on down like a fucking clown in Monkey Town, brother?
We'll just get on down, man. Let's just, you do what you do, brother.
All right, man. Well, you were one of my biggest influences to do, to become like a musician, dude. I always wanted to be like you ever since, you turned me on to Three Sides to Every Story when you'd listen to it over and over every time we go to bed, and then the next day I was drawing on your fucking stereo with crayons and shit, you know what I mean, dude? That was my way of
and fucking... put super glue on it?
Yeah, dude. That was my way of like paying homage, dude. Like, I didn't know. I was a kid. I didn't know what the fuck was up. I thought that was my way of fucking saying, hey, bro, I really am picking up what you're putting down.
So let me ask you the idea. What was the idea behind the super glue?
I have no idea, dude. I think just like I was a weird kid, bro. I remember back in the day when we used to live in that house on Rio Grande. I remember I fucking made like a tiny zozobra, dude, and then I took like a tape recorder and like fucking put it right next to the air conditioner in the window to record like I guess what sounded like fire, and even did like and made like moans, and then the neighbors would walk by and look at me like I was a psychopath while I was sitting out there playing that tape full blast and like lighting my like little miniature zozobra on fire and shit, dude. I wasn't videotaping it, I was just doing it for myself. I felt like I was like, if I can't go to zozobra, like I'll just create my own, you know what I'm saying?
See, that was the cool thing about back then, dude, is we didn't have fucking social media and internet, so we did our own thing with our own imagination with cassette tapes or whatever else. I would sing the Go-Go's album Vacation into a tape recorder, and then Mom walked in once, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. Because it was just for me. You know what I mean? And it was just for me to do, and I love that fucking album back in the day.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I totally get it. But the super glue thing, I can't forget that part, because I'm like, why did he paint the front of his cassette player with super glue? The crayon I could understand, but the super glue, dude.
Right?
I asked, why did you do that? You're like, I didn't do it. I'm like, you're the only other person that lives here besides me, Mom, and Dad. Why did you do it? I didn't do it.
Yeah, dude, it was like an art installation, bro. I was working with different mediums, you know what I mean? I'm sure there's artists out there that work with super glue, not necessarily little kids that destroy their fucking Big Brother's radio and shit, you know?
But it's hilarious that that's one of the things that kind of turned you on to music, and was that album, and then you destroying the thing didn't, and me wanting to kick your ass didn't divert you from music, and you were able to learn the new stuff on guitar.
Yeah, dude.
And you played the guitar like a piano, dude. That was the first fucking guitar stuff you learned.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind, because most people start with ACD chords or whatever, and you're playing fucking Betancourt, Rest in Peace and shit.
Yeah, and I remember because I started like playing piano, and that's why I played my guitar like facing up like that. And the thing that's hilarious about that, bro, is like I got really, really good at it, dude. And I remember like when we were in homeschool, when I was in homeschool, we had like a talent show at this church, dude, like our Comanche in Carlisle, and like I performed Rise and Shine, dude, like, and sang it like in front of like the talent show crowd. And I remember like I had like fucking people coming up to me and praising me to the high heavens, dude. I had like this teacher that was like, I'd love for you to come in and like show my class like it's a really amazing talent. And then I wanted to learn how to play with a pick, right? So I had to learn to play guitar regular. Then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, you're just regular now? All right. And that was it, dude.
Yeah, dude. You shouldn't have listened to anybody, man. Even I told you, dude, like, fucking play it upright, dude. What the fuck are you doing, dude? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you should have stayed with it, bro, because nobody else now is doing that unless they have some kind of handicap and play with their feet or some shit. But you were a pioneer of that shit, bro.
Yeah. That's crazy. You know, harkening back to the fucking super glue and crayons on your radio, I do remember, vividly I remember it was when you weren't there and I was like alone, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I put that CD and I was like listening to that album, dude. That's when I got super, super into like just the last part of that album, dude. The Truth or whatever, like the little medley with like Rise and Shine and Am I Ever Gonna Change and all that shit. I remember listening to that over and over, and while I was doing it, it was like I was at a rock show, bro, and I was like, I don't know, I guess that was my little kid brain just fucking had the super glue and the crayons, and I was like, but I like, while I did that, I wasn't like in the mindset where I'm like, I didn't realize what I was doing, obviously, you know what I mean, but like in my mind, I was just like turned on by the music, bro, and like living the fucking moment, and just like, this is fucking awesome, and like drawing on your radio, dude. So
you know what that reminded me of? Tunes I got so pissed off at you is because remember my Olivia Newton-John album Physical?
Yeah, dude.
And we fucking you had it and you dropped it, or you dropped it. I went to go pick it up and our floors were hardwood, with like dust and stuff, and you fucking scraped the record across the floor like before I picked it up, and you fucked up that whole side of the record. And I'm like, why the fuck did you do that? And Mom comes in, she's like, he was just trying to help you, though. I'm like, no, Mom. He literally purposely just destroyed that album. And so that's what reminded me of it, dude. It was like back to the Olivia Newton-John, which I just bought for 50 cents about a year ago. Rebought that album at a used record store because of that memory. I never listened to it, but it's just like, oh, man, that reminds me of my brother. That'd
be funny if you pull it out of there and you like it's the same album. You're all, the side's all fucked up.
That would be fucking hilarious.
I remember
dude.
too. You had you remember when the Kiss like did their solo albums or whatever. I remember it was like either like a Peter Criss or a Paul Stanley. It might have been Peter Criss, but like it had like the picture album. It had their picture on it. I remember it looked like I think it was just like something they did with the album, where like it was like, I don't know if it was like to like make it like to plane it or make it like completely flat or something. But I remember there was like part of the album looked like it had like how you would put glue on something and it like, you know, and it was like clear, and I remember like peeling it off because of like OCD, I guess, and then I ruined the fucking album, dude.
It was a picture disc, wasn't it?
Yeah, dude, and I remember I used to listen to it like all the time before I did that, and I remember I'd fucking, when you were gone, I would put it on the record player and I would just fucking jump on the trampoline, dude. That was how kids were rocking out back in the day, dude.
Dude, I remember you doing that. But that's kind of smart, because you're like, wait a second, this comes off, you know?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
But now
the trampoline.
Yeah.
That album, Peter Criss, dude, like the most mellow of the Kiss solo albums. That's hilarious.
Yeah, dude. Well, let me ask you this, dude. I like in that house with the trampoline and all that shit. You know, was that like when we lived on Mission? I think. You know, and it was like we had moved from the small house to the big house, and remember you had like that bedroom, and then we had a closet that like connected, like there was a closet in between our rooms. When we first moved in, bro, I remember I fucking it was when you were listening to Twisted Sister a lot, and I think we've already talked about this, but I don't know if you like remember, or if it was like I really was just hallucinating, or if the dream was so vivid, and like as a kid I had like didn't really understand what dreams were. Like I don't know if it was real or not, bro, but I remember a lot of weird shit happened in that house, and I remember it was when we first moved in, and you know, our box springs and our mattresses were on the floor because we hadn't set up our bed frames yet, dude. And I remember I like woke up in the middle of the night, dude, and like my foot was in between the wall and the mattress, like I guess to cool myself off, and then something fucking like grabbed my leg, bro, like, and was gripping my leg from under the bed. And I remember I was like freaking out, and I look over and you're standing in your doorway in the fucking underwear, in your underwear, dude, listening to fucking Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry. And I was like trying to fucking like, I couldn't scream or say anything, but I was like looking at you, and you're just standing there with your arms crossed, leaning against your doorway, dude, just fucking watching me with Twisted Sister playing, dude. And fucking, you never helped me, dude. Yeah.
I did that to fuck with you, bro.
Was that really you?
No, that didn't ever. No, I didn't really do that. You do definitely imagine that, but shouldn't, or it really happened, I'm sure. But maybe I was sleepwalking, but weird shit did happen in that house, dude.
Yeah, because I remember the next morning I told Mom about that, dude, and she, like, to make me feel better, she's like, oh yeah, he thought I was just hiding under the bed. But then when I got older, I thought about it, and I was like, there was no under the bed when that happened. It was like our box springs and mattresses were like on the floor. But
yeah, how would that comfort me, Mom? Number one.
Right? Well, yeah, didn't you have an experience too where you like walked into the kitchen and saw like gorillas and shit and like some weird shit?
Yeah, dude, and it seemed super real. It was when we were living in the house on Noble before we moved to that house with the connecting closets.
Yeah.
I got up and it happened more than once where I would see stuff in that house, but I got up in the middle of the night and I'm walking through the living room and I look at the kitchen, bro, and it's got like a red neon sign that says bar, and the staff, they're gorillas, they're bartenders, they're bartending shit and doing stuff, and then all these little like crazy demons started running around my legs and stuff.
Damn.
And to this day, I think it was real because I don't remember like waking up from it, and it was so detailed, bro.
Yeah,
that it had to have been real, dude. So it's just crazy weird shit, dude. Maybe I had a fever or some shit like that and was like hallucinating, but you know, it was reality to me at the time. I don't know why I didn't go to my bedroom screaming. What's that?
Was that before I was born, or was I born then?
Well, you had to have been.
Because is that like the same house?
Super young.
Is that the same house where you said you heard like noises and shit under the floor, and you were like running around and like fucking like you went to check on me in the crib or whatever, and I was just fucking all wide eyed, bro, and just fucking like I don't know. Because that's another thing too, dude. Is like depending on I don't remember when this happened, but or if it was the same house, but I remember Dad talking about how like when he like read the Satanic Bible. It might have been when he was way younger, but who knows, dude? Maybe it was like just some shit that fucking followed him or whatever. But I remember he said he read the fucking Satanic Bible just because he was like looking to all the different religions and shit like that, because he wanted to like understand or whatever, like really kind of get to the truth instead of just believing what like the Catholic religion told him or whatever. And he said that he would like see imps, like how you're talking about little demons and shit running around.
Yeah,
your legs and stuff like that, dude. He said he would like.
I remember him telling us that story.
Yeah, that's crazy. And in the same, I don't know if it was the same neighborhood when we lived on Mission or whatever, but I remember him telling me that it might have been this house at Noble or whatever. But he told me like back in the day, like there was some sort of story about like a treasure or something hidden in like some house, and him and his friends were like looking around in this house, and like a black dog came up to him while they were in that house and fucking said like fucking I don't know, something in Spanish, and then ran off, and they just got all freaked out and they fucking took off out of that house. I can't remember.
I remember him telling us that story too.
I can't remember exactly what he told me. Like the dog told him, but he said like, you know, whatever. Fuck, he's all like whatever in Spanish. And I was like, oh, fucking, what the fuck, dude? And I always think about that shit, bro.
Yeah, yeah, he told me that shit too, dude. And I remember too, we had this one cat in the neighborhood where we lived, because the Noble house and the house with the connecting closets were basically like, you know, right across from each other, dude. You know what I mean? They were very close. And there was this cat that my dad hit by accident.
Oh, shit.
And it ran off. And, dude, the thing was mangled, bro, right? And it ran off, and my dad's like, oh, well, they do that. They run off to go die. Dude, that cat was still alive, bro, but never the same, dude. I'm telling you, bro, that cat was freaking mean. You'd look at it, dude, and it would hiss at you and shit, and it was still all fucked up and mangled and stuff, but it was alive, bro. And that thing, I never remember it dying. We moved out of that neighborhood, and that cat was still fucking alive, dude. And kicking, dude.
That's crazy.
That was scary shit, dude.
Shit. Yeah, we fucking had some pretty fucking crazy shit going on in our fucking childhood, dude, for sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, bro, because one of the things that, like I said, like you really were like my inspiration for like wanting to get into music and like and be like do like the creative shit that I'm kind of like that it branched off into now. Like when did you what started you like getting into like music and stuff like that? When did you kind of make that decision? Because I remember when you were young, dude, you were like on the fucking path to like rock stardom, dude. You were playing in all these like cool ass bands. I remember when we lived on Rio Grande, I used to hide in the fucking attic, bro, when you'd have band practices, because I thought it was so fucking cool, and you would never let me in there, so I would just fucking be like hiding in the attic, and the fuck, you know, it would be hot as fuck up there and all itchy because of the fucking fiberglass fucking insulation. I remember just fucking hiding up there for like an hour, dude, and just being all sweaty, and then fucking watching you fucking like fucking just make noises to fucking when you guys would sing like Shout at the Devil and shit.
When I didn't know the lyrics,
you'd be all well,
oh yeah, dude, cool I remember shit, that. Dude.
That was fucking cool. Like, when did you start playing in bands? Like in high school, or like earlier than that, or like when did you first get into like actually playing music and shit? And like what started you into that?
So you know Aunt Michelle, of course, right? Mom's sister.
Yeah.
So she gave me the album Kiss Alive 2 like when I was 6 years old.
Oh, sick.
And she also gave me a Velvet Kiss, which was a recreation of them in New York on top of the Sears Tower or some shit. It's a famous picture of them, and somebody painted it on the Velvet thing. You remember those old paintings?
Yeah, with like the naked ladies usually.
Yeah, or the dogs playing poker and shit. Those kind of things.
Hell yeah.
And it was so scary, bro, that it felt like Gene Simmons' eyes were like following me everywhere in the room. So on that painting that's probably priceless now, that's destroyed, I don't know what happened to it, I tore out his eyes on that painting. But I loved Kiss Alive 2 so much, I listened to it all the time. Before that, I was listening to Charlie Pride, Rolling with the Flow, because that's the only, album, little 35 tiny album thing that I had. I would listen to it over and over. But Michelle gave me that record, and I remember playing it, just going like, what the hell is this shit, dude, right? And then, of course, the cover art and the explosions of them coming on stage inside that picture, before he got everything online. Just mesmerized me, dude.
I miss that, like media being like that. Like, even just CDs, bro, like having like a booklet, or like, I remember that record. You open it up and it has like all those fucking badass pictures and shit of like concerts and stuff like that. That's fucking...
inspirational shit.
Hell yeah, dude. I picture you for some reason, dude. When I think about when you just told me that, I just picture like Detroit Rock City, bro, and you just fucking mean... you just fucking all like, we're going to the Kiss concert and fucking playing fucking Kiss, dude, and shit.
Well, I was supposed to be I was told that my dad always asked, so what are you going to do when you grow up? I'm like, I'm going to be the drummer of Kiss, man. I'm going to be the replacement drummer, which I probably could have made a reality, because Eric Singer, dude, who ended up playing for Kiss after Peter Criss left, was a fan, and would go to the concerts, and he got kicked out of one of the Kiss concerts for climbing up like one of the fucking walls or something like that, and now he's playing for Kiss, which retired, but I remember the first time I listened to that album, just the fact that they had makeup on was like, and then, the back cover was a picture of them, like 4 separate pictures of their face during that concert, and of course Gene has blood coming out of his mouth and he's all sweaty, and then it shows Paul like looking all angelic, dude, and then Ace and Peter and all that stuff, and I was like, dude, you know what I mean? And I was like, this is the fucking music I should be listening to. I don't know, I'm listening to Charlie Pride, Rolling with the Flow, and I started by doing air guitar.
Nice.
And I would sing to Mom with an air guitar, Christine 16, because,
her name's Christine,
Imagine if that song came out now, dude, Kiss would fucking be canceled and all kinds of shit, dude, because of, it's about an adult dude that wants to screw 16-year-olds, But at the time, I didn't know that, so I'm singing it to my mom.
That's crazy.
So...
You remember that one Halloween, dude, when Dad made you up as fucking... did he make you up as Peter Criss, and then Mom was fucking Gene Simmons, dude?
No, Mom was Gene Simmons, I was Paul Stanley, but mine and Mom's makeup...
That's fucking funny.
We're fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, she looked just like him, bro. It was a fucking trip, dude. She had, like... Because she had the hair and everything. Oh, that was fucking crazy. Damn,
Well, do you remember my friends who wanted to be Peter Criss, and by that time, my dad... he was done, dude, because it took a long time to do me and Mom. Yeah. And so I'm like, I'll do your makeup, dude. And instead of using Dad's expensive oil makeup that he used on me and Mom, I used one of those fucking dollar makeup kits and shit. Yeah. And his makeup looked like shit. Yeah, bro. You guys looked all bad. You looked just like it. It's all fucking peeling off and shit, dude. The paint that I did on him, and he's like, well, I don't look as cool as you guys. I'm like, no, do you look awesome, bro? And you were there, too. I was like, hey, Nick, what do you think, man? And you're like, yeah, bro. And I was like, I'm glad you said that, because usually you would say, no, dude, it looks like crap or whatever, you know what I mean? I do remember that Halloween vividly, dude, and I had pictures of Mom and Gene Simmons. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's fucking... I think all of our family pictures have just fucking gone somewhere, dude. Like... I think at one point Mom had some pictures, and then I think I had them, but then of course I fucking got addicted to drugs, and of course everything that I ever had accumulated up to that point just fucking disappeared. A lot of family pictures I had, dude, when I became homeless in France and shit, dude. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up, because now we don't really have any. And
Grandma Cecilia had a lot of them too. Yeah. And we'll never see those pictures again, because they're both dead, Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude.
Yep. I think Tanny actually ended up with a bunch of them, dude. Like, because I remember, like, there's some pictures that I still have. Like, remember I showed you that picture of you fucking, I have, like, the good one where you're holding me as a baby, but I remember, like, we had a bigger one that I had scratched your tooth out, so it looked like you fucking had, like, like a big old white tooth or whatever, like you were a buck tooth or whatever. But, like, on the back of, like, there's one that I swear isn't one of us. It looks like John or Paul. And I had fucking given it to Oni because I'm pretty sure it is John or Paul. I'm pretty sure it's not us. Maybe it's you. I don't know. But I guess, like, on the back, like, Tanny had, like, taken all of our family photos and tried to, like, write a date and, like, who the people were in the picture. But a lot of them she got wrong, and she said that it's you from, like, back in the day. But I'm pretty positive that it's, like, either John or Paul. But because it said that on the back, Oni he gave it back. He's all, no, it says it's Matt. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not, because it looks like John and Paul, and I'm pretty sure that I remember seeing that fucking picture, like, in their house at some point or whatever. And I think that, like, Dad inherited a lot of the pictures from, like, Grandma's house, and, like, I think a lot of them Tanny hung on to, dude, after the divorce and shit. So fucking, I mean, I was just fine. Whatever.
I can't believe she would think it was me. They look Asian.
Yeah, like, it definitely, like, if I sent you the picture, dude, you would definitely say, like, I think that's John or fucking Paul for sure. But yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, their
crazy.
mom was, like, Vietnamese or something, bro.
Yeah.
So, do you remember meeting their mom?
Yeah, I loved their mom, dude. Like, of course, as a kid, I didn't realize, like, how bad things were because I knew she, like, dealt with, like, mental illness and shit like that. But I loved spending the night over at their fucking house, dude, because, like, I remember Paul was always like, oh, fucking no, Mom, leave us alone or whatever. But I would love to spend the night over there, not even to hang out with my cousin, bro. It was to fucking, because she would tell us all these, like, crazy ghost stories, dude, about when she was growing up and shit like that, and why she didn't have any friends, and, like, how, like, she told me that, like, her father was, like, haunting the house that they lived in and shit like that, and when friends would come over, like, like, that ghost would act up, and, like, fucking pictures would fall off the wall and shit like that, and when they would, like, arrange, like, when they would shift the furniture in the house, they would fucking wake up in the morning, dude, and it would be, like, put back, or pictures would be knocked off the wall when they moved them, because, like, I guess her dad liked things, like, a certain way, and she, like, legitimately said it was, like, the fucking ghost of her dad and shit like that, bro, and she would, like, have these, like, crazy, she used to think that they were fucking dreams, where she would go and, like, be visiting with her dad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he would be, like, alive. Not like an apparition, but, like, he would go outside and walk around with her, and she would, like, be talking to him. And she used to think that she said that, like, she thought it was a dream. And she woke up and, like, there was footprints, muddy footprints from outside going into the house, and her feet were, like, full of dirt. So she had actually gotten up in the middle of the night and gone out and, like, fucking would, like, hang out on this tree swing and fucking talk to her dad and shit like that. And I would, like, fuck. And then she told us about this Ouija board that she had, and her fucking parents tried to get rid of it, and it kept, like, fucking showing up and shit. It was like, I would love those ghost stories. She'd scare the shit out of me, bro. But of course, fucking,
I loved her too, dude.
Yeah, everybody was like, "Oh, she's just fucking crazy." And I remember even after the divorce, dude, I went to go, like, check up on her, and I remember, like, I showed up to go see her and shit, and, like, I hadn't seen her for years and years, and it was, like, when I was fucking, like, in my later teens or whatever. But she started crying and shit, dude, and gave me a big old hug, and we just sat there and reminisced about that shit. I was like, I always loved your stories and shit, like, 'cause, you know what I mean? And I just, it's kind of crazy, dude. Like, it's kind of sad. Like, you know what I mean? When you view somebody, like, through a different lens, that, like, obviously they were going through, like, a lot of trouble and stuff because of, like, her mental illness. But, man, I don't remember her like that. I always thought she was cool as fuck, you know what I mean? But that's the fucking
Well, I remember
thing.
When I would spend the night, you know, she would chain smoke cigarettes and walk around the house. And
yeah.
That's kind of a thing. And I'm like, hey, Alice. She's like, oh, hey, Matt. And John's like, she's fucking crazy. Don't talk to her. And then I remember one time, and John did this more than a couple times when I was at the house, his mom would say something to me or him. He'd say, Mom, shut the fuck up.
Oh,
and I'm like thinking to myself, dude, come on, man. No wonder she's all fucked up if you're talking to her like that, right? Yeah. And at the time, I was like fucking, 15, 16 years old when I'd go over there and stuff, and I thought she was great too, man. And the fact that John and Paul treated her like that and didn't just appreciate her or support her because her mental health was so horrible and made it worse because of the way they treated her. Thinking back about that now, I should have punched him in the face, dude.
Yeah, and they definitely did. Like, I mean, obviously, like, the mental illness, like, took its toll, you know what I mean, on, like, how things ended up. But, like, you're right, the way that they treated her definitely played a hand in that, because I remember when I think she just would sleep a lot during the day, bro, because I remember she would always, like, go outside and just walk around the apartment complex, like, in the middle of the fucking night. And like that's when she like would thrive, you know, by herself, smoking cigarettes or whatever, dude, because like the fucking during the daytime, like the fucking like nobody gave her the opportunity, I think, to try to kind of have like that normal family life because of the thing. I mean, obviously they were going through some shit or whatever, but I think that, yeah, dude, I think that having your kids fucking say that shit when you're fucking, because I mean that's the crazy thing is like to fuck, like that's why like I have like, especially with like my past with Danielle and shit like that, and even like my current status with her, like when I see her and shit, she's living under a bridge in Los Lunas or whatever, but it's crazy. Like I do my best to like kind of try, because like I think that like there is something, especially with the stories that when I think about it now, especially the stories that she told me, dude, about like her dad fucking hanging out with her in the graveyard and just crazy like hauntings and that kind of shit. Like, I think there, like, was something to that, because, like, I think even there's a lot of people who, like, do have, like, a mental illness or whatever, like, and it does make them experience paranoia and shit like that, but in reality, when you think about it, it's like they really are seeing and hearing shit that we can't experience. So, I think, like, to a degree, dude, people that have, like, you know, so-called mental illnesses, like, it might just be, like, you know what I mean, like, kind of like a deterioration of, like, the sheathing on the wiring in your brain that actually makes you, like, more sensitive to like different dimensionalities, you know what I mean? Because like, you know, because like Danielle, dude, when she tells me about the shit that she's dealing with, like she literally like sees and hears this shit, dude. Like, you know, one of her biggest things is that like all the people that like kind of like dad and mom, and she would see dad all the time and see mom and see Tim and see like Uncle Dan and shit like that. You know what I mean? And like she would be like getting molested by them, and fucking they wouldn't let her sleep, and they would just be like, and she would always fucking tell me, why is your fucking mom here? And I was just like, dang, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, fucking, that's one of the reasons, like, I still feel bad about that situation, because I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, she feels like I failed her, bro. Like, I remember, like, towards the end of, like, that relationship when she got kicked out and, like, started being homeless and shit, I remember her, like, literally, like, crying and begging me to, like, protect her. And, like, why don't you make them leave me alone? And I remember, like, I would try to fucking just yell and be like, get out of here! You're not welcome here! And, like, and it would work for, like, a second, dude. But, like, she literally, then, you know, the paranoia kicked in, and she started thinking that, like, I was, like, orchestrating all of this stuff, and I knew what all these people were doing to her and shit. And it is, like, dealing with mental health is, like, no fucking joke, for sure, but I don't know.
Yeah, especially back with Alice back in the day.
Yeah,
it was still so taboo. Mental health was such a taboo subject that most people wouldn't even get medicated for it. I think maybe if Alice had gotten on some medication, she probably would have done a lot better. And same with Danielle, maybe if she got on some medication. But with Danielle, you have to realize that all of that stuff, dude, that she went through wasn't your fault, man. I mean, you were loyal to the fault with her. It's so much to the fact where you didn't go visit Adam in Los Angeles and, you know, had an opportunity probably to work studios and stuff out there because Danielle didn't want you to leave her. So I think you did the best by her that you absolutely could. And there's nobody that would be able to fix her but her, dude. And the fact that you stayed with her so long, bro, commendable. But I think that now that you're away from her, dude, that hopefully you're starting to realize the freedom you have to be able to do whatever the hell you want to do.
I'm definitely like in a better place than I was, but I have to tell you, for the longest time, and especially since I was still on drugs when she left, like it was really hard to get to, like, I'm still not 100% yet, you know what I mean? But like, you know, as I get further and further away from those situations, it's like I'm starting to kind of like, you know, gain like some sort of semblance of myself back and being able to do the things I really want to do that make me happy. But for the longest time, dude, I just was like, I was still kind of on this like crash course because I was like having this, it wasn't that I was like fucking dealing with drugs or all these crazy things and like on a self-destructive course. Now it was like this, why the fuck did I survive? Like, why did I get better? Like, why am I, you know what I mean? And like, so it's really, survivor's guilt is a real thing, fucking, but, and then I deal with a lot of like mental shit too, you know what I mean? Not only like, because I've been down on myself so long, and I conditioned myself over all of my years and through being bullied and shit like that, and dealing with like all the, like, ever since, like, this is another thing too that I don't talk, I've recently started kind of talking about it on my podcast and stuff, but, you know, ever since that instance, like, where I had that, where you had to put me in the bathtub and shit like that we were talking about with Darren, ever since that happened, like, I have, like, experienced, like audible hallucinations, dude. Like, and it's like, and I've talked to like some people about it, like that were like good friends and shit, you know, and a lot of people would just tell me, oh yeah, we all have that. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's your conscience or whatever. And I do have my conscience, but this is like something different where it's like an external audible hallucination. It like, that's why like when I was younger and I would do drugs and drinking all the time, I would just wear headphones and shit, because I can put headphones on or I could put earplugs in and it like muffles it. It makes it to where like where I can't hear it. So like it trips me out sometimes. And like that's why like I've been kind of trying to really focus on like my health and trying to eat better and get as close to 100% as I can, because if I let myself like get sick or get too tired, or if I'm like not eating right and like depression starts kicking in, it really ramps up to this point where I can't even like be sociable or like be around people at all, because I literally get like my paranoia driven up to the point where like I'm like wherever I go, like I'm constantly like it kind of berates me to this point, dude, where I can't even like listen or concentrate on conversations with other people, and I can't go into public places because I feel like I have to look over my shoulder and I feel like there's like something like there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, and it literally sounds like it's like coming from my left shoulder, and all it is like, I guess it could be like described like the way that it acts, like your conscience might be like, with all the things that I did like to kind of condition myself to believe that I was a loser and I was a fat piece of shit and I was worthless and I was garbage. Like it like literally like reflects all of those thoughts, but like in this audible voice, dude, that like feels like somebody. It's like if I just hung out with like the biggest asshole on the face of planet Earth, you know what I mean? And it was just somebody there just like by your side telling you like, you shouldn't do that, or these fucking people are looking at you, or you don't belong here, or like you're not good. Like it's crazy. And like luckily it's gotten to a point where like it's manageable. It's like now it's like it's kind of like always there, but it's not you know, unless like my mental health deteriorates, or like you know, like I'm tired or sick, then it gets to a point where I literally just can't be around anybody and I just have to take edibles and just fucking sleep until I can fucking get to like a point where it's crazy. But that's when it started happening, like that moment. And then it's crazy I remember you talking about how you said like after I calmed down, and you said like I was like speaking in tongues and like staring off into space and shit. And I don't remember that, but it's like ever since that experience in my life, that this thing has always been with me as a kid, and I think that's why I acted out more than likely, dude, and why I was just like a weird little fucking guy, dude. You know what I mean? And I don't think I really understood what was happening. And like, it was one of those things that like affected me so much and was like, would make me feel or act like weird. Like I didn't never told anybody about it. As a matter of fact, like, I know we're talking about, sorry, this is all people you should know Matthew Rele, but we're all talking about me, but
that's cool, bro.
But when I had that,
people should know you too.
When I had that hallucination, dude, with the Smurf flying around and the Exorcist grabbing my foot and shit, and then Dad came in and was like holding me, I remember like later in life he had told me, he's like, you were staring into the corner and like fucking screaming, and he said like he was so convinced that like if he turned around he would see something, so he didn't. And like I think when I was like 17 or 18, I finally was able to like, I drew him a picture of what I saw. And the thing that's crazy, and I don't know if it's like because of like, I remember you used to scare me with like the Eddie and all that kind of shit. That's what it looked like. But it wasn't like, it didn't like, I couldn't see features. It was like this really tall shadow that it was almost as high as the roof. And it looked like a shadow because it was like translucent. You could see through it, and it was like dark, and I could see the shape of it. And it was like this really tall, lanky, like where like the arms were skinny, and like the elbow joints and the knee joints and the hips were like kind of like protruding, because it was almost like an emaciated like skeleton figure that had like a really like thin neck and like had like the bushy hair like the Eddie did, but I couldn't see features. It was just like, but it wasn't a shadow. The thing that freaked me out, like, and why I never talked about it is because it seemed like, I don't know, like some kind of fucking evil, like demon or some shit like that. Cause like, it was like normally if you see a shadow cast on the wall, like it was like, cause it was like right over the corner of the room where I was looking. And normally you see a shadow cast, like it would bend with like the corner of the wall, right? And like but it was like a translucent figure that like was actually like standing there, dude. And like, I remember I was scared me so much I didn't talk about it till I was like 17 or 18. I finally drew a picture of it for Dad, dude, and told him about that. And then that's when he was saying, that was crazy. Like, he said you were screaming, and like, I was scared that, like, to turn around because of how you were acting. He's like, I was worried that I might actually fucking see something behind me. And then, yeah.
You know what's crazy about that, dude? You know, I said I talk to Gunnar a lot, and he'll open up to me and stuff.
Yeah.
What's funny about you saying that is that he was telling me, because, you know, we'll talk about his mental health and stuff. And, of course, you know, he's growing up in a totally different situation, generation than we did. But he started telling me stuff like, you know, that he would hear voices.
Yeah.
And audible voices like you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And that also he would see shadows, but they would be from the corner. He'd see them from the corner, his peripheral vision. And then he said he turns his head, and that shadow is still in his peripheral vision. And it could happen. It happened at the mall when he's in the mall with his friends once and stuff like that. So I wonder if it's something more like, and people are going to think this is crazy, but a spiritual discernment where you're aware of certain things that are around, and maybe you were so sensitive to the supernatural or spirits or whatever when you were that sick, that what you saw might have even been real, bro. Do you know what I mean? Because
I know exactly
to Gunnar, it's like real. He's like, it's there. And you know what's crazy too is like, and this is gonna be funny as fuck to you maybe, but when I'm in the bathroom with a fan on, like getting ready or showering something, dude, I'll hear Christmas music audibly. Like it's like you said, it's coming from you know, an external source.
Yeah.
And it's Christmas music. And sometimes it's like orchestra music or whatever. And I thought for the longest time, and finally I asked Jeanette, I'm like, were you playing the radio in the room, or because she has a radio in the garage playing Christian music, and you know how Jeanette is, she's a big believer. She's like, no. And I was like, well, what the fuck am I? Because I can hear it, dude. And it's like, I know it's not there now.
Yeah.
But I still fucking hear it. So I wonder what that's about. You know what I mean? Like the mind it can be sensitive to different things. Just like I think that you and I, who both have been addicts in the past, are still as healthy as we are, because I think that we kind of like evolved, because we come from a family of drug addicts. And so I think we have genes now where we could do like whatever the stuff we did, and it didn't screw us up like it does to everybody else, because we have a strong genetic disposition to addiction, dude. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Ozzy Osbourne did all this horrible shit, and he still lived a long life and didn't die till he was in his 70s or whatever. But you know, I think that maybe there's a gene for spiritual sensitivity too. I don't know.
That's a possibility.
You know?
That's why I got really into like fucking like quantum physics, bro, and like parapsychology and like alchemy and all this kinds of shit. No, and these are a lot of things that really kind of helped me like get a grasp on my own reality, that have like kind of helped heal me to the point where I'm at now. I'm like nowhere near 100%, but like I'm much better than I was, you know, when I was addicted to drugs and shit. But I think about those things because, like, dude, even like when I was in drugs, even now that I'm not off drugs, I still experience those things. But I have seen crazy shit that like I couldn't explain when I was on drugs. But of course you think, okay, you were probably on drugs. But like just like the shit that Danielle like experiences and stuff like that. And I think like when you're younger, like you haven't had any constructs like holding you down or telling you how things are. So like when you're a kid, like you literally believe that like anything is possible. So I always think like when you're a kid, before like you get fucking thrown into the like machine that society has created, you know what I mean, and tells you how things work and how to think and how to believe, and you know what I mean? Like, maybe it is a possibility that, like, we were, like, sensitive to, like, things that we can't see now because we're told that now that they don't exist as adults and that it's all nonsense. And, like, even, like, when it comes to, like, parapsychology and shit like that, dude, they talk about, like, you know, doing, like, shadow work and shit like that. Or even, like, on my podcast, I talk a lot about consciousness and, like, you know, like elevating your consciousness and raising your vibration, because like when you start living a better life and being the best version of yourself, like you basically are like existing like in a higher vibrational state that like starts attracting all of these things that are positive. And when you do drugs, or when you like are into like evil shit, like, you know what I mean? Like you, like all of like demons and like evil and that kind of shit is all stuff that exists in like a lower vibrational state, you know? And there's even like, people who have like been addicted to drugs who did like whippets and that kind of shit, you know what I mean? Where like they literally we'll be talking to like demons and fucking like other entities that nobody can see, because you're literally like sinking yourself into like a lower vibrational state, dude. And like that's even when they talk about like in quantum physics, when they talk about like multidimensional reality and shit like that, like the idea behind it is like it's like a vibrational thing. Like, if you know what I mean, like the reason we can't, you know, like ascend to like a higher like dimension is because like we have to be able to like align our own like resonant vibration with like higher vibrations or lower vibrations. And like I remember being in jail back in the day, dude, and like hearing people that were like addicted to like heroin and shit like that talking about like literally being attacked by fucking like demons and shit, dude, and it's crazy. So I think there is fucking something to that, dude. And then like, even like our pineal gland, bro, like we're like that produces all these chemicals for like fight and flight, and like serotonin and melatonin to like help us wake up, and even produces like fucking dimethyltryptamine or whatever, dude, like the spirit molecule or whatever the fuck, like, you know, where like your life flashes before your eyes when you die. I mean, like there's talks about like the way that processed food is right now, and like how they like fluoridate our water, you know, is supposed to like supposedly there's like, you know, beliefs that like that calcifies that fucking gland, and so it like stops you from being able to reach like a higher consciousness, or being able to like experience like the like different, I don't know, dude, like, or being able to like, you know, change your life and like do, because I think that humans are, you know, much more like capable of doing shit than like they want us to believe. And like I think that has a lot to do with like the way that they fucking process foods and shit like that. Like I really think there is something crazy where it's like they really are like dumbing down like our consciousness, dude, to not be able to like do things and control us, like keep us.
I think that's 100% true, because I've seen the physical effects of them adding, you know, shit to fucking food and processed food, and like on my kids even, dude, because they, you know, they go through puberty faster, all this shit, so it's got to affect the brain too, you know what I mean? And I think that drugs open you up or desensitize you or sensitize you to what's going on spiritually around you, just like people that do like methamphetamines go into what they call a meth psychosis.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I've never experienced that. Have you ever experienced that? The psychosis of doing meth?
Not like on an extreme level, but I remember like there was a big time in my life when I was doing that drugs where like I was doing research on the internet, and I don't know if it was like kind of, if I kind of tripped myself out or whatever, but I literally like was doing research about the things that were happening to me, and the thing that came up the most was something called gang stalking. And it's like a crazy phenomenon, but there are people who actually like experience, but it's like people will just be like fucking trying to videotape shit all day long. But I remember like, it's literally where like fucking people will be like they say that like, oh, like it's, how could it happen, because it's like such a big thing, you know what I mean? A lot of people say that it has to do with like government agencies, and like, well, they're literally like, people will be doing this thing called street theater, where like like where people will like, you know, they listen in on your phones and they know everything that you're doing, and they have people just watching you wherever you go. And I felt like that was happening. I remember even when we would travel from Grants to Albuquerque, New Mexico, there was people that would always try to cut us off and slam on the brakes, or people would try to box us in and like stop us from like, so I would just fucking literally drive like 100 miles from fucking just like a crazy person going from Albuquerque to Grants, so that shit didn't happen, because it would happen every single time. And then when I was like, you know, living at that house in Grants or whatever, like after dad took off, then I was still on meth, of course, you know, but I was like fucking making money to be able to live in that back house and fixing up that house. But there was like these hillbillies, dude, that were like literally like terrorizing us. We would fucking have the house clean. We didn't have cars because they fucked with all of our cars, so they stopped running. And so I remember me and Danielle would like fucking, with the little money we had, go walk to like the whatever, the Allsups, to get like cups of ice and soda and shit like that. And we would come back and somebody would have broken into our house and thrown animal shit all over the place, dude, or like broken and stolen shit from us. And I remember the thing that was crazy is I felt like we were nuts, dude. Like, you know, every time I would tell mom about it or whatever, she would just, I think, you know, because she knew like something was up or whatever, but like with us, like probably with drugs or whatever. And I think she kind of wrote it off and just did her best to try to kind of like ease our minds about it. But dude, the thing is like it seemed like really ridiculous, like the things that like we would experience, and then, you know, people are just like, whatever, it's like some sort of like meth psychosis. But when we moved out of that house, I found out that there was actually like they had replaced like the roof with like brand new like tin roofing and shit, and it was like a house shaped like a horseshoe. So like, you know, on one end of the house it was like a bathroom, a kitchen, and then a bedroom, and then that was like the first half, and then there was a middle adjoining room, and then another piece that came out. So basically it made a horseshoe. and in the garage and the carport was like the whole like right side, and you could get up there in like a little loft area, but it looked like it was just went and there was like a wall. And then when you looked from the other side, like there was like a little way to access the house into the attic from the outside, and you looked up and it just went straight back and looked like it didn't go above the one bedroom that was like in the middle, like connecting those two pieces. But when we left, I remember like every time we'd come home, you would hear people honking, or every time we would leave the house, people would honk. There would always be like fucking people like riding their bikes or following us around, it felt like. And I remember like when we actually left, I remember going to the back of the house because I swore like somebody, like in the middle of the night, dude, like there would, we would hear people sneaking around the yard and shit, dude. And we would like try to go out there and catch them. And one time, I remember we got home and that guy, Terry Gene Etheridge, dude, who was like fucking, like his family was like fucking with us, dude. I remember he was just standing out there fucking talking to somebody, but there was no, like he was not talking to anybody. He was like facing like this building that was right next to us, and it was like this it was like a CenturyLink building, but it was just like a server building, and they had like a really big tower like right there. And I remember I was like, what's going on? And he like looked all startled and shit. And so I remember I fucking set up a ladder, set up a ladder real quick, and I grabbed our dog Willow and I climbed up the ladder and I fucking let her loose in that thing, and she ran all the way to the end and was like barking at somebody, dude. And and Danielle was all, she came outside, she's all, I just fucking heard someone on the roof. And so we went up there, dude, like I went on the roof into the back of that house. And there was like somebody like driving, there was a neighbor behind us, right, that would always like, there was always like weird noises coming from like their little shed or whatever, and they were like getting in that car and they took off all quick. But of course it still seems like meth psychosis or whatever, but I remember I was like looking around and I started lifting panels in that part where we thought there was no attic above the fucking house. They had a piece of like that tin roof where you could literally grab up the piece of wood underneath it that looked like the flashing, and you could lift it up, and there was a whole other fucking section that they were fucking going into, and they had just like blocked it off with wood so that we like never thought to like access it, because we never got up there and crawled around, but we would always feel like people were like watching us because like it was kind of unfinished, and like some of the light fixtures like were cut a little too big, so we would always feel like people were watching us and shit like that, and it was fucking crazy. There was even one time where we went to Allsup's, dude, and on our way home we fucking heard all kinds of fire trucks. And we were like, what the fuck? And like, it seemed like it was like a parade. It was weird. Like there was like fire trucks going around like our street, and we go and we see smoke coming out of our chimney, dude. And like somebody had started a fire in our like stove. Like we had like a wood burning stove, like for heat. We didn't have a heater in there. It was just like all kinds of weird shit like that would fucking happen, dude. But like, and I even still notice shit now. And like, but I feel like now when I think about it, like I feel like maybe it is like people who exist on this like lower vibrational frequency, that it does have something to do with good and evil. Because I remember after I stopped doing drugs, I would still notice like weird shit where I would feel like people were watching me and that kind of stuff. But I just, because I wasn't doing anything wrong, I was just kind of like, who fucking gives a fuck? What are they going to do? People are fucking watching me. Where they're going to watch me kicking ass or whatever. And because I still experience weird shit like that today, but it feels like kind of like people are kind of like fucking keeping an eye on you. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. But then I had other people that would talk about their experiences with the gang stalking, and they said, well, yeah, I never felt like anybody was like against me. I always felt like people were watching over me like angels. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. But now I just,
Think about it though, bro. I mean, because that happened several days in a row, right? When you lived in Grants.
Yeah, dude, it happened the whole time we were there after Dad left. It happened even while
he was
there.
Like hillbillies fucking with you, right? It was like real people.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and I'm pretty sure they were meth heads too. Like now that I think it back, I think that like we got bested by meth heads. Like we were on meth, and I think they were also on meth, because they were starting to like fuck up all the work that I was doing on the house. They got it to the point where I lost my job, and the landlord wouldn't let me work anymore. I had to start working with this guy, Terry Gene Etheridge, and his family. And like I remember I swear he tried to kill me like fucking a couple of times, because I finally was like, I gave up. I was like, fuck it, I'll work for him. But I mean, we tried to stay away from them, and we didn't have anything to do with them. But he told me he had a Sawzall, and he said, here, cut an access hole right here in the floor, because they were having to redo some of the plumbing. And I fucking like cut through it really carefully, and when the panel fell out after I cut the hole in the floor, he literally had me cutting across where like all the conduits and electricity was coming from the fucking street up the wall into the box, and I had almost cut through the sheathing, dude, and I would have electrocuted myself. He did the same thing too when he had me cut a hole like in the wall before they put the drywall on that was a vent for one of the toilets, and I did it really carefully, and I would like drill out the hole a little bit, and then I would pull it out with a screwdriver, and then I fucking like layer by layer, and sure enough, there was the conduits coming from the power box going over that wall that was bringing powers to all the rest of the fucking like rooms in the back of that house. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? It was crazy. But of course,
dude, that guy sounds fucking nuts, bro.
He was fucking crazy. And then of course when we got kicked out, I remember they were just all happy, like fucking going, oh, look what I found. And they were just carrying all of our shit like because basically they had like, it was like this whole fucked up thing where like they were trying to get us evicted and get us in trouble, right? They even brought like these people that lived in Mora to come and live in the house, like the big house that we originally were like buying. But then of course after we like weren't buying it anymore, he let us stay in the guest house in the back. And they were like fucking with us. They were the ones that were fucking with our cars. They even tried to fucking like start a fight with us. Like and they had this one drunk Indian guy there one time. And I remember we came home like cause our driveway had to walk. Their driveway was their driveway. We had to walk down their driveway to open up the gate to get to our house. And I remember one night, I fucking was walking and fucking, I like looked and they had this big old picture window that I had put in. And this big old fat fucking redhead guy with a ponytail. And they were on meth too, for sure, dude. Like one guy thought he was a fucking vampire. He was missing teeth. One chick was like a fat chick with fucking like no teeth. And like the other chick was this girl. She would walk around. We used to call her like Rocket Bitch. But I remember I was like, we were going by that picture window and I like saw him and I looked in the window and I was like, I waved to him and he was just staring straight ahead, not paying attention to me, just taking shot after shot of fucking whiskey. And then that night he fucking came out and started fucking like starting shit with us. And they had this like Indian kid that was super drunk and they were like, our dogs were against the fence, like barking, and they kept kicking the dogs in the face. And Danielle was arguing with him and they were talking all kinds of shit to Danielle and I was like, let's just fucking go inside. And like this guy literally threw this like fist-sized piece of concrete and it missed my head barely and fucking made a hole in the RV right behind me and it made a hole in the fucking tin of the RV and like that would have fucking killed me. And like, but anyways, those.
Dude, why didn't you call me? I would have gone down there and we would have fucked him up, dude.
Yeah, it was fucked up. Like it was crazy, dude. Like I remember one time, like finally, like we were talking to Bart, and he came and he was like, you know what? Maybe you guys just need like a break from this place. And so we had like the dogs like locked inside. We made sure they had plenty of food and water. And then we were gone for 2 days because he had like gotten us a hotel room on like Tramway and Central, so me and Danielle could like fucking chill out. Of course, we're still fucking doing drugs, of course, like dumbasses, right? And he gave us like a little gift card so we could go see a movie and shit. But then when we got back home, like we didn't let anybody know we were leaving, and we didn't let anybody know when we came back. But it was like when we came back, we climbed over the fence instead of like walking up the driveway, and it was weird because their back patio faced like our house, and there was like a couple of chairs like out there, like somebody, like they were facing our house, like somebody had been sitting there watching something, and we kept hearing the dogs barking. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So we went and we fucking opened the doors and the dogs ran outside as quick as they could. And they were just fucking like dehydrated and all panting and shit. And like I went inside and somebody had like filled, it was like weird. We had a shop vac. Somebody had filled the shop vac with water and left it running. And the house was hot as fuck, dude. It was like all hot and humid. It was weird. And like, I don't know, dude. All kinds of weird shit I can't really explain. But now when I look back, like I swear that those people were also on meth. And I think we just fucking, it was like fucking a battle of the meth heads, bro. And we fucking lost because fucking they had like more people on there. I don't know, dude.
Oh, man.
But it was.
Yeah, but you get the Gallegos brothers together, dude. We would have fucking destroyed them, bro. I wish you would have called me, man. Shit.
Yeah, dude. It's fucking nuts now. I kind of like, sometimes I still want to like go back to that town and just fucking go. Fucking drive around and see what's up, because there was a lot of weird shit happening. Like there was a lot of like people, like it was like weird, like people would like, we would like, I remember like it got better when we stopped like talking to people, because we would hang out with everybody and like we would meet like street people and shit, and we stopped talking to people, and people would literally come into our life, force their way into our lives and like try to befriend us. It was really weird. And then when we would befriend these people, weird shit would happen, or they would fucking like break into our house, or like, you know what I mean? Things would start happening again. It was really fucked up, dude. But I don't know. Could have been meth. Could have been, you know, I don't know. But anyways, like I said, dude, fucking, I don't know.
I don't think it was psychosis, though, because it happened the whole time you were there, man. Usually psychosis has short periods of time, you know?
And I think that just, I mean, I think the trauma from everything happening, I think maybe made Danielle snap, because we don't even know her health history. So, you know what I mean? Who knows really what her situation is. Like, she could actually have like schizophrenia in her thing and like just those drugs. Like, but I do notice that like in my fucking years of meth use, I do notice that like chicks are more prone to having that like break, you know what I mean, in their fucking like those psychotic breaks where like a switch will go off and it can never be unflipped even when they stop doing drugs. Like there's still something fucking going on.
Yeah. God, dude, that's nuts, dude.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we talk about all this shit that happened back in the day, or like how we're. But also, I was fucking. You caught me having sex with my Hug-a-Bunch doll when I was a kid. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Oh, I forgot about that, dude. What the fuck were you doing with that Hug-a-Bunch, man? I mean, shit.
Oh, it was a naked, bro. You know what I mean? I was fucking. I don't know. I was like, this is the fucking finest thing I fucking that I had at my fucking disposal, dude. You know what I mean? Even though it was like,
bro, Yeah. I don't even think sex dolls existed back then, bro. You're like the pioneer of that shit, too. Fucking Hug-a-Bunch, bro. That's funny.
Oh, shit, dude.
Oh, my God, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I think that mentally, bro, especially a history of mental illness, because, like, with Tanner and Gunnar, they both grew up, their parents are still married,
Yeah.
And they both are on meds for anxiety and depression, bro. And there's nothing... Especially in Gunnar's life, dude. He's had probably the easiest life because I think as we got older, Jeanette and I got more patient. We didn't yell or anything that much at Gunnar, which he doesn't have a lot of trauma in his life, really. I mean, but still he suffers that. So it's got to be a genetic, element to it because, fuck, dude, he's had a great life. We've tried to give in all our kids stuff that we didn't have, which fucks him up too because it makes him entitled because you and I grew up poor.
Yeah.
And I remember the one thing that traumatized me the most when I was a kid was I really wanted this certain toy. And mom and dad were broke. They were doing the best they could. And my gift for Christmas was a bottle of Elvis cologne from the dollar store that smelled like farts and cologne.
Right? Somebody spraying cologne in the bathroom after they take a shit?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I told my kids that story, and they're like, no. I'm like, no, guys, for real. Like, Nick and I wouldn't get, we'd still get presents. Mom and dad did the best they could.
Yeah.
But when you guys, want a freaking PlayStation or you want a Game Boy, where the fuck you guys ever wanted, you guys would get one.
Yeah.
And that's what you're used to. And so now when you don't get what you want, we get mad at you for acting like assholes, but it's our fault that you're acting like that because it's like you and I were used to being broke. They're used to getting what they want. And when they don't get what they want, to them, that's like a slap in the face, like, well, how dare you? You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's how they're conditioned.
I mean, best case scenario was fucking socks and underwear. You could always count on that shit.
Yeah, and of course we had to act happy when we opened the box. Like, we're thinking to ourselves, this fucking sucks. And we're like, oh, thanks, mom and dad. You know what I mean?
You're all, an avocado. That's what I fucking always wanted.
Exactly, dude.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, it's definitely a genetic element to mental health and all that stuff, depression. But I really do think that it opens you up to sensitivity to spiritual things. Yeah. I never really experienced anything like that when I was doing drugs, except when I was doing heroin a long time ago.
Yeah.
And of course, she took the kids out of the house because, she wanted them to be safe and she didn't want them to be around that. And that house on Red Robin, I would hear somebody walking in the back rooms. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And I know nobody else was in the house, but I fucking hate that house now because of that. And it's another reason we moved, because even after I got clean, dude, that house had so many bad memories and scary situations that happened at that house, dude.
Yeah.
That I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Let's go to Nebraska, dude. You know what I mean? Because that's where I would do drugs and I would be by myself and I would drink myself to sleep for however long I was doing drugs. You know what I mean? And yeah. Jeanette said that it was so bad that she didn't even want to go to the house sometimes to check on me because she thought for sure she'd find me dead,
Dang. Yeah. I don't know if I think there is something to like how people talk about like residual hauntings or whatever, where like there's the same thing kind of happening in spaces. I think that like our fucking like our despair and like fucking suffering and like trauma like literally leave like this energetic imprint or something, or because of like I said, if it's like a lower vibrational state that has something to do with like evil or something like that, maybe opens up like fucking like portals or doorways in those places. Because like But I think shit also fucking follows us too, because I don't know if it's because I used to do drugs or whatever, but I've always had like kind of vivid dreams and shit. But ever since I fucking quit drugs and I started dreaming again, dude, I now have this like this problem, dude, where like, and it doesn't matter if I'm like feeling good, like if I'm like doing well, like I'll have these like waking realities a lot where like I'll be so tired, you know what I mean? Because I like one of the things that I do, I think, to cope, you know, ever since like I stopped doing drugs is like I think to not give myself an opportunity to have too much time on my hands to like fall back into like all that bad shit again, is I'll just like, I'm constantly going, like I'll go visit mom, I'll go visit Auntie Kathy, I'll go check out a movie, I'll go to fucking church, and like I literally will like run myself into the ground. And some days like when I overestimate the amount of energy I have, dude, like I'll go and like I'll just be super fucking tired and I'll like lay down and start like watching TV or something like that. I literally will like fall asleep and not realize that I've fallen asleep, and like dreams will start from the very moment that I'm watching a movie or that I'm like awake. And then like I'll start hearing things or seeing things, and I'll have these these false awakenings or whatever, where like something crazy will happen, and then like I'll open my eyes and I'll be right back in the same place that I was when I first started dreaming, when I didn't realize I fell asleep. And like we'll have that happen 5 or 6 different times. And like finally when I like wake up late or whatever in the morning, like I'll have to, or most of the times it's like it'll be real early morning or like late at night when it's still dark, and I'll fucking have to like walk outside, like, you know what I mean? I'll be like smoking a cigarette and just like fucking, I'll have to like look around, like, am I fucking finally awake now? And it takes me like sometimes 3/4 of a day before like I feel like I've like rejoined reality again. You know what I mean? It's like I'm constantly like, am I still fucking, like it feels like there's this separation between me and like reality, and I'm like kind of like in this weird dream where like I guess the best way I could describe it is like there's almost like a, like this, almost like it feels like a translucent like layer or something, or like glass between me and everything, and I'm not really like there, like nothing feels real. And it's fucking, that's one of the biggest things that I fucking deal with right now. And it's crazy because there's also shit like that would happen though that's weird. Like I don't know if it's just like, because that's the thing, is like dreams are like pretty interesting, dude. Like they can be like just as real as reality, right? And like when we're asleep, our pineal gland, dude, like it's releasing all the same chemicals that like would be releasing like when we're, you know, going through like fight or flight or whatever like that. And I think that like DMT is one of the things that like plays a role in making those things so vivid. And when you think about it, the consciousness is fucking crazy, because like the only reason that we think we're experiencing reality is because like our mind is like receiving signals from our eyes and like projecting like this reality into our brains, you know what I mean? And it's the same thing that happens when you're dreaming with your eyes closed. And even like when you do DMT and shit like that, it's like your eyes can be wide open, but you're seeing like a whole different dimension or whatever. But there's like one time where I fell asleep and had this crazy dream, like where I kept waking up, and it was like Dad's house, but it was like different. And like I remember like it was like there was like this little girl running around in the fucking thing, and I think it's right when I first started doing my podcast a couple of years ago, and she was like holding a little radio, and it was like this little fucking light-skinned black girl running around. And when I went to go out into the living room because I felt like wind coming in, and she was like, she was like live from Illinois or something like that. I don't remember what the state was, but she was like talking into a radio, like a little radio, like she was doing a podcast or something. It was weird. And then I remember I was like, well, I have to go let the dog out. Do you want to go with me? And when we opened the door, it was this super long staircase that fucking went down probably like 100 feet. Like, and it was like a wooden deck and like a really long, like pitched roofed house. And it went down to like some trees, and then there was a cliff where there was water. And I remember her like saying all these things that like reminded me of Danielle. She was like, she kept saying like, she's all, you have to save her. You have to stop Condoleezza Rice, before they go get, what did she say? Before they get Italian ice in Miami. They're going to get Italian ice in Miami. You have to stop her. And I was like, Condoleezza Rice.
Italian ice?
Yeah, but see, there's this girl named Candy. Her name was Candolin Garza, but because her name was Candolin, I used to call her Condoleezza Rice. And so, like, I grabbed the little girl's arm in the dream, and I was like, what are you fucking saying? Are you Danielle? Like, what are you talking about? And then I got, like, and then when I finally did wake up in the actual, like, reality, I, like, walked up I walked outside because I was like, fuck, I got to tell Dad about this. And he was at the other end of the house. And in the dream, when I first walked out, when this crazy stuff was happening, like he was way farther away because it was a long house. And I was like, fuck, thinking that before, like I actually woke up, I was thinking like, damn, I have to tell Dad, like, what the fuck? And he was still up, and I saw his door close and the light turned off. And then like after I had like woken up a couple of times in this dream, and it was actually reality, I like walked out and I was like, what the fuck? And I looked down and Dad's light had just turned off right when I came outside of the door, and it was weird. And I like fucking walked outside, like, I was smoking a cigarette and like looking around, and I was like, am I fucking awake? And then because of all that shit that happened, I hadn't heard from Danielle for months. And so I was like, fuck. I was like, okay, so I'm going to see. Like, I went onto Google Maps and I plotted like where it would be from Albuquerque, what a trip would be to Miami, right? And I was like, okay, so I was like literally like doing some detective work. Fucking, it was so weird. And like, so it went right through the part of Texas where Candy had actually moved to several years ago. And so I was thinking, did she go to like see her friend and like something happened and like they're gonna fucking like, so I was looking up all these I was looking up every Italian ice place along the way. And there was like this one, and I was like putting little pins like on each one, and then I did about 2 or 3, and then when I went back, there was a pin in a different state, like just above Texas, that I hadn't put there. And I was like, what the fuck? And I clicked on it, and it was a place called Battery Park, and it was the house that I had dreamed about. Like, it showed a picture of, like, it was like a rock quarry with, like, water.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and, like, a cliff, and the house that I was in, it was, like, this long, like, wood cabin that had, like, a pitched roof, and, like, a fucking ladder going down to, like, where the trees and shit were, and there was, like a rock quarry or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck? And I started tripping out, so I thought, like, I was on the fucking case. Like, is this something happening? And then she called me the next day from fucking jail in Texas. It was weird. And that kind of shit, that shit happens a lot, but but most of it has to do with Danielle. And I don't know if it's because I knew her for so long, and we, like, maybe there is, like, something to that, like, connection that people can fucking literally have telepathically. Because every time I have really crazy dreams like that, or start, like, really, like, worrying about her, like, literally within a few days she'll call me from somewhere, whether it's from somebody's cell phone that she borrowed or fucking, it's pretty crazy, dude.
You know what? I was talking to Gunner, and when we took him to the doc, one of the things he told the doc was he feels like what you said, like there's a glass between you and reality, so you feel detached. Yeah. I don't remember what word he used, but he used a word that was like nothing seems real around him.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Like,
and
like
so he explained it to me a little bit more.
Kind of like surreal, like you're just like, you're not quite sure, like you're not connected with fucking reality. Like surreal is like what I always feel. It's like it looks real, but it doesn't feel real, and it's just like what the fuck?
Yeah, you know Gunner, he uses fancy words. So I was reading the doctor note, and the word that he used was like, wow, that's a pretty fucking big word. But I'll have to look it up and tell you, because there's a medical terminology for that, and you and Gunner, it sounds like, have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just thought, nuts that you just told me that, and that I had been talking to Gunner about the same exact thing. And he feels also not like paranoid, but like people are watching him. But think about it, dude.
Yeah.
When you say, you know what, I need a new fucking microwave or whatever, and then you go to your social media and you get an ad for like a microwave, you're like, what the fuck? That's not coincidence, bro. They're listening to us, on our phones all the time. They can activate our cameras anytime.
Yep.
And now there's this scam where they'll send you an email that says, hey man, if you don't send me $5,000, I'm going to release a video to your work and your friends and family of you jacking off to horse porn or whatever, you know? I was watching you through your camera and shit. You know what I mean? And some people, dude, are either committing suicide or sending $5,000 because they believe it. But they say to ignore those emails. But, dude, it's a complete possibility that somebody could do that. I mean, off of even Wi-Fi, dude. Somebody cloned my phone in public Wi-Fi when I was, on my phone and shit. Yeah. And I started noticing all this crazy shit happening on my phone, dude. Like, all my apps have been accessed remotely and shit, dude. I'm like, what is going on? And sure enough, dude, my phone had been cloned probably when I was in an unsafe, internet, unsecured kind of a situation. So now I always use a VPN. Yeah. But, dude, the shit that people are capable of now, dude, watching us and all that stuff, dude.
Well, one of the
It's insane.
One of the things too that has to do with like the gang stalking that I was experiencing with Danielle is there is something called like what is it, like non-torture weapons or whatever, or like no touch torture or whatever, where they like directed energy weapons. That's what it is. Where like literally like they can have like shit that they can make out of like household items and shit like that use like infrasound and ultrasound that can actually affect like your body, dude, like using like microwave radiation and that kind of shit. And that's one of the biggest things that like where like they can literally like manipulate your emotions and shit like that and make you feel like fear and all kinds of crazy shit. And I remember like when cuz when I was on drugs, bro, I was like addicted like ridiculously like to pornography, dude. Like I could not fucking stop myself from like fucking, you know what I mean? Like, and it was like when I was on drugs and we were living in that house and all that crazy shit was happening. And I remember like the email that I had attached to my phone, I remember like I started getting all these like spam messages and like me and Danielle like would fucking read them. And it was weird. Like they would start out like it almost seemed like they were coded. It was like somebody, like, I don't know what the names had to do with it or like, you know, but it was always the ways that they were in my spam mailbox were like, and I still get them today. I haven't checked them out for a long time, but I'm not doing the same shit that I used to do, but I still have that email. I remember, it would like, be like, you know, hey, like, what's up with your fucking, it would be like, oh, remember we met on whatever. It sounds like one of those like cheesy like ads for like a fucking escort or something like that. You know what I mean? And, but then when we read into it, like, it would start out like it was reading like an excerpt from a book or something like that. But then like in between, like some of the sentences, like it would like, there would be like words that didn't belong. And we started picking out the words that were in these like excerpts from books or whatever. And they would say like, I have eyes on like the male subject or whatever. And like, and it would literally be, like illustrating like what we were actually doing and like somebody was watching us. It was fucking a trip, dude. And that's one of the things I think that maybe sent Danielle off the edge with like whatever she was dealing with, because I remember like towards the end, she literally was like obsessed with every fucking, like she swore that like she was getting these messages from the universe that were like written in the dirt or in the rocks, or I remember we'd go to the Dollar Tree or whatever and I'd fucking like throw our receipt away and she'd be like, no, don't throw that away. And she'd be like literally like obsessed with fucking encyclopedias, and she would be just sit there like collecting rocks and collecting scraps of like fucking torn newspapers that she found and receipts. And when she would watch YouTube, she swore that like, you know, when you start listening to a song on YouTube, it'll like just kind of create a playlist and start playing things that are similar to that artist or whatever. But she started seeing messages in like the fucking music that was playing and shit like that, and would start talking about people from our past that were like coming to rescue her and all kinds of shit, dude. And it was like crazy. And she tried to like explain it to me, but it didn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? I was experiencing weird shit, but there was also like we got obsessed with like, there was this app like there was that for like infrasound detection and ultrasound detection, and basically what it does is it would beep and like give you like a certain level of like infrared or ultrasound waves that were like hitting you or whatever, and it would like, you could literally look up addresses. It would tell you where it came from. And like, it was, we were like obsessed with this shit, dude. And like, there was all these weird neighbors that we had and shit. And like, I don't know, dude. It was weird. It was like this weird, like impossible case to solve, dude. Like, we had all this fucking evidence and people were acting weird and shit, but we were just also on drugs. You know what I mean? But I feel like, but the thing that's crazy about it is a lot of people, you know what I mean, think that it's like just like some sort of psychotic episode that's like drug induced or whatever, or just paranoid people. But there is something called Zertzung, which is something that in the 70s, like the Germans used to fucking do. It's called it, like, it's the Zertzung is like, it's like German, like I think the fucking, like what it translates to in English is like erosion. And it's like, what it is like people doing things around you all the time, like you feel like you're being watched, like you have like this extreme amount of paranoia that starts out as like simple little things. It's like they try to like implant psychological triggers. It's like when you fucking leave your house, like stupid little things like that could seem like paranoia, but one of the things about like the outcome of gang stalking is like all the things that they do to you are supposed to like make you feel like these things that will actually mimic a lot of like different symptoms from actual mental illnesses, so that if you talk to somebody about it, it just seems like, okay, you have fucking schizophrenia, or you're just paranoid, or it's like meth psychosis or whatever. But like, it starts out as like you fucking leave your house and you'll hear like loud fucking cars like fucking revving their engine, and you don't notice it at first, but it's like as soon as like every time you go outside to smoke a cigarette, like the same car will drive by, or when you leave to go to work, like the same neighbor you don't know is leaving to go to work or coming home at the exact same time all of the time, and then it starts making you paranoid and implanting like all these weird psychological triggers. And like the whole idea behind it is that it's either supposed to fucking drive you like crazy, so that you either fucking like flip out on somebody out in public that you feel like is following you around and like incite violence, or fucking get murdered by somebody, or murder somebody, or kill yourself, or just like become like isolated and you just don't ever want to go anywhere. And that's where I was at. Like, that's one of the things that I still deal with that like has to do with like social anxiety, bro. You know what I mean? And then dealing with like the voices and the shit that I fucking deal with like on a regular basis. Like, literally, I just feel like fucking like I'm just like, it's weird. Like, I'm scared to go out like places. There's sometimes where like it gets so bad that I just won't, like, I don't want to go anywhere. Like, that's why it's cool that I have the job that I have. That's why I kind of like stress about this job ending, is because then I'm going to have to be around a whole bunch of people and like back in the world. Like, right now I'm kind of like in this isolated area. That's how I was able to get off of drugs, fucking working at that gravel pit, bro, because it literally is just like I'm in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? And so I was able to kind of just like deal with it, I guess, then. So now it's like this place where the gate locks, and I could, you know, and you didn't have to worry. Like, there was still weird shit happening, and now, like, I don't know, dude, now that I'm living in this other house, it's like I fucking trip out. Like, I still have these weird, like, I still feel like paranoid and shit like that, and you can still notice weird shit happening. But at this point, like, because I'm not doing drugs anymore, it's like I kind of just make a mental note of it. I'm like, that's weird. You know what I mean? But I'm not like all fucking peeking out my window all the time. I remember, like, I would have security cameras, and I would sit in my house all fucking night, bro. Like, literally just fucking watch security cameras all the time and just fucking waiting for some shit to happen. It was like a trip, dude. It was crazy.
Oh, dang, dude.
Yeah.
I never knew all this shit about you, bro. Dang.
Yeah.
Shit.
Fucking, that's what happens when you fucking hug a bunch doll, dude. Fucking don't do it.
You fucked yourself up, dude, as soon as you fucking touched your dick on that thing.
Yep, dude. Fuck. You fucked me up for life, bro.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude. Fuck, bro. So you're a survivor, dude, basically, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess. You know what I mean? I think, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I definitely has like changed me as like a person for sure. Like, cause I used to be very like, I used to be kind of like a pushover, you know what I mean? And I think from like being bullied and just from what I allowed myself to kind of condition myself to believe, you know what I mean? Like that I was a loser and all this shit. I think now it's weird because I feel almost like, and I might have always been this way, but I feel like to a degree, like I have like a strong like empathic like thing ingrained in me, dude, where it's like I can fucking tell people from a mile away now, you know what I mean? Like you can see what the fuck they're up to before they fucking...
That's called dark psychology, bro. It's a real thing, dude. There's like, I don't know if you ever watch it. There's this guy on fucking Insta and Facebook, and he has like these little shorts, and it's like stuff like how to tell somebody's lying in 4 seconds, or how to tell somebody that gives you a compliment that actually hates you within 4 seconds, stuff like that, bro. And dude, a lot of that shit's true because I started practicing that stuff, bro. You know what I mean? Or if somebody is jealous of you or intimidated by you, and they're like kind of passive aggressive towards you and say something that's like rude or just uncalled for.
Yeah.
So the part of the dark psychology is just either looking them straight in the eyes for 3 seconds and then walking away, or saying, did you mean for what you just said to come out sounding condescending? And then it puts it back on them like, oh, yeah, well, he figured it out, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's called dark psychology, bro. So you've got that down, it sounds like, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And that's like one of the things that like really helped me like after I was getting off drugs is, like I said, like with all the shit that I seen that was crazy, like there's weird, dude, there was just like, okay, Danielle used to always like want to go, like she basically, because I was working, Uncle Dan wouldn't let her work, and like I saw what she saw, like it was like a boys town there. Like, they're like, ain't no bitches gonna work here, you know what I mean? And that's when I was actually, like, after she left, when I was, like, doing that transgender thing or whatever, and they would always fucking say that and make fun of me and call me fucking the F word, and, like, I was always the butt of the joke and shit. But it's funny because now Uncle Dan is fucking, like, praising me, and he's like, thanks for fucking always being there. And now Gary, you know, my stepbrother, he is, like, now in the space that I was in. Like, I don't know if he, like, he's addicted to, like, all kinds of, like, crazy porn. He can't stop doing drugs. He can't stop fucking drinking. He's just, like, he's, like, basically become, like, a roadblock for himself to be able to progress. You know what I mean? He's, like, in the space that I was. I was always, like, I'm a piece of shit. I fucking hate myself. Like, I don't deserve love. Like, don't love me. Like, that kind of shit. And I was stopping myself from being able to progress as a human being, and that's where he's at now. But there was shit that would happen with, like, Danielle, dude. Like, we're like, dude, like, she would always, like, want me. I remember one time she's like, I just want to go look for rocks. And I was like, okay. So I remember I had a truck. We drove up to the top of the thing because she wasn't allowed to go up there anymore because she would just always flip out and drive up there all fast and think that we got in an accident and shit like that because she said people told her that, like, we died, or, like, she would hear and see all kinds of shit that didn't happen. But I remember I took her up there and she just started saying, leave me alone, and, like, was fucking grabbing her ass, dude, and, like, saying that, like, people were, like, molesting her and shit. She's all, stop fucking raping me! And everything echoes in that fucking thing. And I was like, dude, get in the fucking car, because if somebody's walking up there, all they're gonna see is her saying, stop fucking raping me, and then seeing me, like, telling her, shush, like, stop, what the fuck? But I remember she got in the truck, like, I got her to get in the truck while she was dealing with that, whatever it was, and she laid down on the seat, and I swear to God, dude, she said, let go of me, and she was fucking holding, like, her fucking shirt, like, around her neck, and I literally saw her fly, like, from the passenger side of the seat, all, like, it looked like somebody, like, grabbed her from the driver's side, because her head was, like, leaning towards the middle of the seat, right, and she was laying down. It looked like somebody grabbed her and pulled her out of the driver's door, dude. And cause she, like, she wasn't like pushing herself and being dramatic and, like, oh, and then, like, kind of fell out the side. It's like she slid across the seat and, like, actually, like, flew out of the fucking door. Like, somebody grabbed her, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, dude, get in the fucking truck. And we drove down to the bottom, but there was always, like, weird shit happening like that. And so when she got kicked out and, like, I had to, like, put an order of protection on her so I could stay living there, because she, like, caused all kinds of damage and shit. She was homeless the whole time, right? But then I got into, like, fucking, like quantum physics and shit, you know what I mean? Like, multidimensional realities and, like, fucking all kinds of shit, and, like, just, and then that brought me to, like, alchemy and, like, parapsychology, like, Jungian psychology, dude, where it, like, talks about, like, shadow work and all the different, you know what I mean? Like, all the different things that fucking people experience, and, like, I don't know, dude, that's what fucking brought me to that fucking point. But in, like, listening to, like, Carl Jung and all that kind of shit, dude, like, it talks about, like how we're, like, two different people, like, we all have, like, you know, like the dark, like, the shadow side of us that lives inside of us. We all have, like, a feminine and masculine energy or whatever, and we have to be able to, like, you know, a lot of people, like, spend their lives running away from, like, the shadow of themselves because they're, like, ashamed, or because it's, like, but you literally, like, that's where, like, now I literally am all into, like, individuation and shit like that, where it's like, if I'm feeling, like, a certain emotion, or, like, something's, like, traumatizing, instead of, like, trying to, like, since I don't have any things to really cope with it anymore, it's like, now the only choice that I have is to, like, literally, like, I'm like, I welcome it. I'm like, fucking, let's go, like, make me feel as shitty as I should feel, so that you can, like, you're literally, like, soaking in whatever it is you're dealing with, so that you can, like, understand it, and then you start, I don't know, it's just fucking, anyways, I was trying to fucking solve the fucking mystery of the universe, because Danielle still deals with some crazy shit, dude. Right now, she's talking about how Tom McDonald, the white YouTube rapper, is her husband or whatever, and that's why she won't let me take her to rehab, because Tom was supposed to do that, but I don't know, bro. It's fucking nuts, dude.
Well, you know, meth's, one of the main effects of it is hypersexuality, bro. So that's why the porn thing. Yeah.
Yep, and then her too, like, I think with, like, feeling like people, like, actually molesting her, but it's like but the thing is like, with me, I was like, oh yeah, watching porn and, like, getting down, but with her, it's like this weird, like, twisted, like, people that she fucking hates, like Mom and fucking Tim, like, fisting her and fucking like, putting things in her butthole, like, it's crazy, dude.
Damn.
And it's fucking,
you know what's crazy too is Danielle, man, had always been good to the kids. And I just always thought she was, you know, just a chill person when you first started dating her. She was pretty cool.
She was the nicest person I ever met.
Yeah, and then I started seeing, like, and hearing after I moved out here, like how she started to just like progress into this completely different type of person, bro. You know what I mean? When I heard she was destroying your shit and breaking your guitars, and I was like, what the fuck? That's not the Danielle I fucking knew. So, yeah, dude, there was a switch that was flipped that has never been flipped back, bro.
Yeah, dude, I remember when it first started happening, before she even started doing meth. It was when we were both, like, drinkers. And that's a thing, too. I think when you do drugs, dude, like, and you drink, it does literally, like, expose you to, like, dark forces, dude, and, like, lower vibrational entities and shit. Because I remember we used to get in these crazy fights and fucking argue, dude. And fucking, I remember she'd always say all kinds of fucked up shit about me. And I remember one time we were arguing at the house, and it was before we, like, fucking were helping out Dad. And it was just us, bro, and we were drunk as fuck on vodka. And I remember just fucking, she just would say all this shit to make me feel bad about myself, I think. And we would both do that just to see. We knew how to push each other's buttons, and we would just push each other to the edge. I remember I fucking told her, I said, you fucking make me feel like shit. I was like, you just fucking make me want to fucking kill myself. And she fucking, like, her eyes just went blank, dude. Like, it was weird. Like, there was nothing behind her eyes. And I remember she fucking grabbed a razor blade and fucking was looking me right in the eyes and was just like, fucking slashing her arms, dude. And I had to fucking grab. And she had already done it. Like, she had to go to the hospital and get stitches, and she lost, like, use of her hand for a while it was healing and shit. But, like, I mean, deep fucking cuts, and was fucking squirting blood everywhere. And I fucking grabbed a fucking razor blade out of her hand and fucking was just like, what the fuck are you doing? Do you want to fucking die? And I was choking her, dude. And I was like, you want to fucking die? And she, like, at first she was struggling with me, right when I was trying to get the razor blade out of her hand. And then I had her down on the couch, and I was strangling her drunk out of my fucking face, like, you want to fucking die? And she just went fucking limp, dude, and just fucking looked at me, like, was staring me right in the eyes, dude. Just like, fucking do it. And I fucking stopped choking her. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I had to call the ambulance. And then they came and fucking took her to the hospital and shit. And she didn't remember any of that shit happening, dude. And we used to, dude, like, I got really good at fixing windows and walls and shit, because I would break everything. Like, she would make me so mad, and I never wanted to, like, hit a woman. And so I would just throw shit through my own windows and shit, dude. And fucking, it was crazy. And then we were just always fucking trying to kill ourselves and shit. It was nuts, bro. So, but that's another thing too. Is like, when we used to be into like Wicca, dude. You know what I mean?
You had a Wiccan wedding.
Yeah, dude, exactly. And that's another thing too. I wonder if, like, that has something to do with, like, why, because we had a hand fasting that's supposed to, like, connect us energetically in the universe forever or whatever. And maybe that's why, like, I still have this weird, like, I don't know if I told you, dude, but, like, I let her come live with me. Like, on Dad's birthday, she showed up at my doorstep, dude, at Dad's house, the house that I'm living in now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember thinking, like, the reason that I let her live with me for almost a month, dude, and it was fucking hell, dude. Like, I started regressing, and fucking I got all suicidal and depressed and shit like that, because, like, I remember, like, it was, I remember feeling like, fuck, dude. Like, I remember thinking about her on her birthday, and it was like, I remember the night of her birthday, which was the 19th of January, it was, like, snowing really heavily, and I was like, fuck, dude. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, my birthday's coming up. I'm like, I'm doing well. I'm like, and I remember, like, it was right, because, like, when I first started, like, eating better and started doing a podcast, it was a couple of days before my birthday when I started the podcast and started eating better. And I remember thinking, like, shit, maybe there is something to, like, numerology or, like, astrology, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a window that happens, like, right around when we're born on this earth, where, like, I mean, because I think that we can change ourselves and, like, do better and, like, kind of progress our lives and shit if we put the energy into it and have dedication and just do the right things. But I felt like when that happened, I was able to go from eating 16,000 calories a day to, like, eating under 2,000 calories a day, and I just fucking lost all this weight, right? And was, like, real disciplined. But it was right before my birthday, and I was about to start, like, another experiment to try to fucking, like, working out and all that kind of shit, because it was almost going to be my birthday. And I remember thinking, like, fuck, dude, like, I wonder, you know what I mean? Like, I wonder how Danielle's doing. It was snowing. But then when she showed up on Dad's birthday, like, something clicked in my head that was like, dude, like, since maybe, like, this is within the window of, like, her birthday, to where maybe if I, like, literally open my home, because what I was thinking was, like, she could never stay at Uncle Dan's, she couldn't stay at Mom's, she couldn't stay at Dad's when she was alive, because fucking they hated her, right? Because, like, of all the shit that, like, I'd gone through and that she did, you know. But I remember thinking, like, shit, now that I live at this house and it's my house now, and, like, I was like, maybe this is literally the only thing I haven't been able to try to help her. So I, like, opened the house to her and shit, and I was like, maybe because it's, like, around her birthday, maybe I'll be able to convince her to go to, you know, to rehab. And I found out about this program where she could go get, like, an ID, and they would help her get housing and a job and all that shit, dude, she hasn't had for fucking years. And it was just, dude, like, it was crazy. She, like, luckily I have storm windows on my house. You know, like, there's, like, inner storm windows and then the outer, like, actual window. Well, dude, I didn't find out till after she left, but, like, she broke a bunch of them, dude. And that's what she did at the trailer, because people would, like, harass her that I couldn't see, and she would throw things through the window, like, leave me alone. And she broke 3 of those storm windows. Luckily, none of my actual windows got broke, but during that fucking time, like, she would go get drugs, I think, when I left, because after she'd be sick, you know what I mean? Like, when she was detoxing, then I remember, like, I was just letting her live here. I went and fucking, she even, like, panhandled one time to get, like, money for groceries, and we went and bought groceries, and, like, I would come home from work, and she would be, like, cooking shit like she used to cook, and I remember we'd wake up every morning and have eggs and coffee and just sit there and talk and shit, and she was, like, normal. But then there's sometimes where I come home, and I could tell that she had been using again, and I don't know if she went to pick up drugs, or if she just, like, was smoked a little bit of, like, fentanyl that she had on a foil or whatever, you know what I mean? But then that's when she would just be like, leave me alone, and screaming and shit, and I would be like, just please go to bed, I gotta wake up in a couple hours. And I remember I slept like shit. I would literally just, like, I was in the bedroom at the end of the room, or other end of the house, and I just remember waking up multiple times a night, dude, just fucking hearing her screaming or stomping or throwing shit, and I would have to keep getting up and being like, what's going on? Tell your mom to leave me alone, and blah, 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 and why is she here? And then there was one time where I remember I heard her talking, but she wasn't, like, causing a big ruckus, but I woke up in the morning, and she had been up all night, and I came out, and, you know, before I went to work, and she was laughing, dude, and sweeping the floor, and she's all, yeah, I know, and I was like, what are you doing? She's all, I'm talking to my mom. And her mom's dead, right? But she was just, like, happy, sweeping the floor and cleaning the kitchen, dude, and just, like, laughing and talking, like, fucking all super happy. And she's like, yeah, I'm talking to my mom. And I was like, what the
Bro, I'm telling you, that energy that you guys have together, bro, is fatal, bro. You just, you know, I know you love her, and I commend you on everything you've done to help her, but,
yeah,
man, that's one person, dude, that you need to stay away from, just to be able to be yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
She destroys you, bro.
Well, and all the progress that I make when I'm not around her and I start doing better, as soon as she comes back into my life, it's like that wound rips back open, and then it takes me weeks to, dude, I think it took me a fucking month after she left to, like, even just start, because I was, like, super depressed. I would think about killing myself every fucking, like, not even just, like, thinking about killing myself every day, like, I would think about it all day long. I would just think about when I was driving to work, like, I just wanted to fucking, like, fucking pull in front of cars and just hit people head on. I had, Dad left guns behind, you know what I mean, that I kept, and fucking, so I had a handgun, and I literally would just fucking think about all of these different ways that I was going to kill myself, you know what I mean, and the neighbors would fucking piss me off, because then I would be real depressed, and I would say hi to the neighbors, you know what I mean, and normally, like, human connection is kind of what helps me get back, like, to a place where I feel better, and people saying hi to me or whatever, but it's like when I was in those, like, deteriorated states where I was, like, really depressed and shit, people would not respond to me positively, and it would make me even more depressed, and I remember thinking about just fucking having these crazy fantasies where I would just, like, fucking pour gasoline around all my neighbors' houses and light my own house on fire and just fucking shoot myself, dude. It was fucking crazy. Literally, I was, like, at the point where, like, I was pretty sure I was going to do it. Like, it wasn't like, I don't know. It was like, it wasn't that, I don't know. It became like this ideation, and then, like, went from that point to where it was like, okay, I'm just, like, eventually I'm just going to be so weak and I won't be able to take anything anymore that I absolutely am going to die. I just didn't know when it was going to happen, but I was positive that I was going to fucking kill myself, dude, and it was crazy. But it was like there was still something inside of me, like that, and this always happened too, like when I was on drugs and when I was trying to get better from drugs and shit, where, like, I would be so fucking distressed and so depressed and, like, so unmotivated, but there was something automatic, like there was like a part of me that was still, like, go to work, even though I would just be thinking about killing myself and fucking killing other people. I would just be like, there would be, like, this little automatic part of me that was still driving the loader and loading trucks and but I was just thinking about killing myself and killing all kinds of people all day, and I would have dreams about, like, raping and killing people. It was fucked up, dude.
So if Danielle came to your house right now,
yeah,
what would you tell her?
I would call the cops.
Good, man, because like I said, bro, it's almost like her motivation or whatever's driving her, bro, is out to destroy you, dude. For real.
And that's the thing too,
and
is like
herself, you know,
her the drugs that she's on fentanyl, right? And I remember like telling her, you need to go to detox. She wouldn't let me take her to detox. And I remember when I first let her stay in the house, I said, look, dude, I said, I'm going to try something. I said, this is the only thing I haven't been able to try because I'd never been able to let you stay anywhere because, you know, all my family like wouldn't allow it or whatever. And I said, we're going to give it a shot, dude. And I said, we're going to be roommates. I said, we're going to fucking try to fucking see if we can get you clean and get you like back on track and integrate you back into society so you can just be normal again. You know what I mean? And I was like, but the rule is, I said, you could stay at the house. I'll let you stay inside. You'll have your own room. I said, but you cannot fucking do drugs. No drugs in the house. And she was all, well, do you think that do you consider blues a drug? Which is fentanyl, right? And I was like, absolutely. I was like, that's probably one of the worst fucking drugs out there. And she's all, but it's not. Like, she's all, I barely will smoke one pill a day. And she's like, and I just use it to get by, which I understand. Like, if you're living in the subculture of fucking society that's homelessness, I definitely get why those people are on drugs. It's like, you have to be able to fucking fall asleep in the cold. You have to be dirty. You have to be hungry. You have to be behind a fucking dumpster in your own shit. So that shit basically disconnects you to the point where you don't care. Like, you're okay with your fucking state of being or whatever, you know what I mean? But like,
that's why I was on heroin, dude. I didn't care. You know what I mean? It's the same. It's an opiate, but fentanyl's 100 times stronger than morphine. But that's how it is when I was on heroin, dude. I didn't care. I didn't care that I was going to lose my family. I didn't care. The only thing that I cared about was the mistress, which was fucking heroin.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I didn't even care about other chicks or anything or anybody or the fact that how is this affecting Travis, who was old enough to know what was going on at the time and all that kind of a thing. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, was because it's hard for me to deal with like reality. Even today, if I wasn't on, you know, certain medications and stuff like that, and then I was diagnosed with ADHD at 50, I was like, that makes a lot of sense, because people are always like, dude, why are you so fucking all over the place all the time?
Yeah.
And I still am, but just not as bad. And the only way I got diagnosed is I was, you know, how I used to buy like thousands of dollars worth of gear all the time, and then I would sell it and lose most of the money that I spent on it. Was doc said that's a sign of ADHD, because your frontal lobe is underdeveloped when you have ADHD, and you produce less dopamine than most people, so you're prone to addiction. And it was an addiction specialist that I'd been seeing, and so they tested me for ADHD, because my dopamine hit, now that I wasn't doing drugs, was spending money and buying stuff without regard to the consequences, and then feeling like shit about it when I didn't have enough money for the house payment. And then they put me on something called Lamictal, dude, which was used for seizures. It still is, but it took away the impulse. It took away the impulsivity of just buying stuff, dude. Right? Like, I can look at guitars that I want or whatever I want, or buy something, but think about it first, and then I ended up not buying it, because now I have the discernment to go, okay, I'm medicated now with, like, because I'm on, you know, Adderall and Lamictal and Zoloft and all that stuff, and it normalized to the point to where, like, now I'm not homeless because, you know, I have that under control. But if I would have known I had ADHD sooner, how would my life have changed? Would it have been different? And then you have to commend Jeanette for putting up with all that bullshit, including my ADHD, bro, because she's like, you're allowed to take. You have charisma, but people either love or hate you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you have a fucking huge personality. And it's not really the personality. It's just like my mind is always racing. Even now on the medication, it's always going. And I've always had kind of like insomnia and trouble sleeping. And to this day, poor Jeanette, she's like, why aren't you sleeping? Because she's afraid that it's drugs or something. I'm like, Jeanette, I've always been like this, dude. This is like my window of when I want to play guitar or watch movies or whatever. The nighttime is like when I feel the most comfortable. So, you know.
Yeah. Exactly. That's how I am too, bro. I have to like force myself to go to bed, dude. Because I just, at night, like when I should be asleep, that's when I'm like thinking like, fuck, I want to like record some tracks for this song, or like try to, you know what I mean? And then that's why it gets so frustrating, because I try to lean into like a lot of those creative tendencies, because I know they'll make my life better. You know what I mean? They'll enrich it. But it's hard for me after I get off work to fucking do it. So now, like, and I know that when I was doing meth, I of course was up all the time at night, but it's like I don't know if it's because I did it for so long, you know, but I've also had like night jobs and shit like that before I even started drinking, you know what I mean? Like when I would do like overnights and shit at Walmart or whatever. But it's like there are some times where like I want to, like, I tried to do experiments with sleep too, because I remember like being at a certain point where I was like, how much sleep can I go, like, what's the littlest amount of sleep I could have so I could like have more hours? Because that's what it seemed like the answer was. I'm like, I want to do all these things and I can't. I'm like, okay, this is the answer. I need to like sleep less, or I need to sleep in shifts, you know what I mean? Or I need to sleep right when I get off work so that I can wake up at 9 and then I can be up from fucking like 9 o'clock to like 5 in the morning before I have to go to work. And I try doing that, and I'm really creative, and I get a lot done, but then it's like, it's hard to fucking prolong that. It starts like, eventually, like, because I think of the way our natural circadian rhythm is supposed to be, it starts really kind of affecting the way that you function after a while, and it's like fucking, it's this weird push and pull, and fucking, it's hard to figure out, dude, and I don't know. I think that there has to be a way where you can fucking develop it to where, like, because there are a lot of people, I don't know, there are a lot of people that, like, live their life like that, but then of course like they end up getting like health problems and shit like that, you know what I mean? That's why I'm like all trying to get into like nutrition and health and starting to get into exercise and shit like that, because I'm trying to make like my normal everyday life, you know what I mean, my natural circadian rhythm, something that I can actually like adapt to and be able to get stuff done, because most of the time I just fucking feel like I'm tired all the time, you know what I mean? Except at night when I should be fucking sleeping.
Do you have time blindness at all?
Yeah, dude, absolutely, bro. We're like, it's, dude, and it's weird. Like, I used to think that it like was attributed to like doing meth and shit like that, because I remember when I did meth, like it would like time would just like fly by. But like, there's also now I notice like with weed, like I can't even smoke weed anymore, dude. Like I used to be a huge pothead. I've been doing it like maybe once a week. But I'm literally finding that, like, I don't know if it's because of how the dispensaries are and the way that they're, like, producing weed now. Because, I mean, the THC levels are fucking ridiculous now. And they're getting higher all the time. So I don't know if it's, like, some sort of, like, chemical, you know, fucking shit that they're doing or whatever to, like, try to make, like, the highest yield or whatever. But it's, like, I literally can't fucking do it because it starts making me depressed. It starts making me suicidal. And now it's starting to, like, tap into things that remind me or give me feelings of when I was on hard drugs or like an alcoholic and shit. It's weird. It's starting to like hit different. But like I notice like if I smoke weed in the morning, it literally feels like the day takes for fucking ever. And like I just can't wait for the day to end, and I'm tired fucking halfway through. It's like, I mean, I'm sure it has a lot to do with just the way that it affects you, but I do notice that like when I get into like certain projects or certain things or whatever, like time seems like it just disappears. Like, but then I also start thinking too about like all this weird shit and about how human consciousness and how I think like maybe the government or systems in power are like trying to manipulate the way that we actually act or the way that we feel and shit like that, you know, like for like as an element of control. I mean, I wonder, like, because, you know, the calendar was created by man and time was created by man, right? Like back in the day, like, I mean, I guess they had sundials and shit or whatever the fuck, but back in the day or whatever, but I feel like, how do we know that like the government itself hasn't like started shortening, you know what I mean, like taking a couple of minutes here and there away from, because like, now it feels like time is flying by fast. I don't know if a lot of people say when you're older time flies by, but there are some days where like I feel like I have like a grasp on it, and there are some days where like where like it feels like a year has gone by, and I'm like, it literally feels like it's only been a couple of months. You know what I'm saying? Like holidays don't mean anything anymore. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, there was like indicators like around certain times of year, you'd feel a certain way around a certain holiday or whatever. But now everything just like fucking blends together, dude. And like, it doesn't seem like it almost seems like, I don't know, like time is being fast forwarded. You know what I mean? Like it's being stolen from us or some weird shit. I don't know. I get in all kinds of conspiracies and feel fucking weird about all kinds of shit, but
that's also like a sign of, ADHD, because I've always kind of had time blindness. Like, for example, I'll come down to the music room and Jeanette's like, when are you coming to bed? I'll come up at 10, right? And I get into playing guitar or doing whatever I'm doing, dude. And then I look up at the clock and I think it's about 9:30, and it's like 3 in the fucking morning, bro.
Damn.
You know? And so ADHDers, we have time blindness, even at work, dude. I'll be like, fuck, I know I got to do this. I know I got to do this. And procrastination's part of it too. I know I got to give this med or do this to this patient. And I'll be like, I'll do it in 30 minutes. And then before I know it, dude, it's the end of the shift. And then I have to tell the night nurse, hey, I never got a chance to change that dressing on that patient or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, so it's something even medicated that I deal with. But I've always had time blindness, bro. You know? So maybe you have ADHD, dude.
You know, I've talked, like, when I talked to Auntie Kathy and shit about all the things that I've been doing, like, you know what I mean, to try to get better from after drugs. Like, she's always real interested in all the parapsychology stuff, but, like, there's certain, like, her son has ADHD. And he was telling me that, like, I think he might have it because there are certain things that I would experience that he was like, that's shit that I, like, deal with all the time. There was, like, times where, like, and it was never anything, like, really, like, negative or, like, harmful. But I remember, like, when I'd be hanging out with Dad, there was, like, some times where, like, I would be, like, I would always do the housework for him and shit like that, you know what I mean? And do his dishes and stuff. And, like, there would be times where, like, I'd be walking to the fucking sink to, like, put all the dishes in the dishwasher. And he would say, like, hey, son, would you mind doing the dishes for me? And I would get fucking so angry, dude, that I was like, I would hate him, dude. It was crazy because I was like, I was going to fucking do that. Like, what the fuck? Like, I would feel like somebody was, like, taking something from me or, like, you know what I mean? Stealing an idea. It was fucking weird, dude. And he was saying, I deal with that a lot. He said, it sounds like fucking ADHD. Because I remember it would be like, or I would go to fucking make him, like, I would be making dinner or go to make him something. He'd be like, could you make me like a microwave meal or whatever? And I would be like, oh, like, I'm fucking making it for you right now. What the fuck? Like, it was like I would lose my mind over it, dude. And it's like he was just like fucking hungry and just hey, son, are you making something for yourself? Can you make something for me? But I was like, I'm making something for you already. Like, what the? It was like this weird, I don't know, dude, where I felt like fucking like, oh, like that. Like, I felt like it took away, like, the fucking joy of, like, doing something kind for somebody. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because it was like, oh, I'm going to do this nice thing for this person. And then when they'd fucking, like, say, like, maybe you're just on the same wavelength or whatever, but they would, like, mention something about what you were doing at that moment. And I felt, like, robbed of, like, my opportunity to, like, do something nice for somebody. And I just felt like they were being an asshole. I don't know, dude. Mm-hmm. I deal with that shit a lot.
Well, you know, ADHDers, too, are people pleasers, bro. So after a while, we start getting pissed off that we're people pleasers without even realizing it, because you've been a people pleaser your whole life, right, bro? Because you don't like when you were bullied and stuff, you know, and you just try to stay out of conflict with people, and maybe and ADHDers a lot of times we're over generous, or, you know, we'll take behavior from people. For example, when I was working in Cozad, this last job I had before where I'm working now, I was treated like fucking shit because I was an outsider and I was hired in a management position and I didn't grow up in that town. And everybody that works at that fucking hospital grew up in that town. And I was treated horribly, bro. And I look back on that, dude, and I'm like, why didn't I, like, stand up for myself? I would be like, okay, I apologize. I really respect you. And, you know, blah, 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 and all this stuff, dude. And it's like, because that's just how we are, bro. That's kind of how we're conditioned with ADHD. And, you know, when we experience conflict, it robs us of any dopamine that we have, number one. So then we're kind of like, we feel defeated, you know what I mean? And so that's why we're prone to drug addiction too, because that's our, whatever, or shopping for some people is their addiction, or pornography or whatever, you know? And when people are mean to you, bro, it hurts ADHDers harder than anybody else, bro. And we also have discernment. If somebody's acting different around us, like if they're usually like really happy-go-lucky and one day maybe they're quiet and having a bad day, it has nothing to do with you. Yeah. The whole time you're thinking like, what did I do to you? Are you okay? Did I make you mad? You know what I mean? And it has nothing to do with us, but, you know, that's how we think. So.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, dude. Life's a fucking interesting fucking bowl of whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. And the cool thing is that I moved to Nebraska. It's a different, they always say Nebraska nice. People are so nice. Well, dude, I don't know where they got that from, because when I first moved to Nebraska, everybody was a fucking asshole, dude. You know? They didn't get me because, like, my sense of humor is sarcasm. And Nebraska people, they don't get that sense of humor. They think that you're being mean to them, dude, right? Yeah. So I'd get people going to the manager, Matt's being mean, and he said this, and so I get called into the manager's office. I'm like, I was just kidding. I was being sarcastic. And then finally, when I was around the person or people, whoever went to management, because I was being sarcastic or joking around, I'm like, you know what? I was just thinking about something. When I worked in Albuquerque, if people went to management before they went to you or something like that, eventually they would get their ass kicked in the parking lot, whether it was by a family member or somebody else, because we believe in Albuquerque to go to that person and say, look, this is the issue I have. Yeah. So why didn't you just tell me, you know, when you said that kind of pissed me off or hurt my feelings, and then I could have explained myself and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I have a dry sense of humor and I'm sarcastic, and I didn't mean it in a mean way, and I apologize." But going to management, bro, I can't tell you how many times, dude, I was like, you know what? If I see them in public and I'm able to beat the shit out of them without them knowing it's me, I'm doing it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So the place I work at now, dude, these people are the staff. They're fucking nuts, but like in a good way.
Yeah,
they're like me. They don't get offended over everything. You know what I mean? And it's just it's a good environment for me to work in. But a lot of people, they have high turnover because a lot of people that don't have our sense of humor, like these guys are fucking crazy, and they quit.
Yeah,
you know. And there's a shortage on nurses anyway, dude. So, like, I can be myself, and they're not going to fucking fire me or call me into the principal's office because they really need nurses, and they need nurses that are going to fit into that type of social construct. And it's not a toxic construct like I've worked in before. It's actually pretty cool. Like, you know, I've been out of work because of my hand I told you about.
Yeah.
And, like, I got a voicemail, dude, from the nurse and 2 techs that work there. And I didn't hear it when I first got it. I discovered it days later. But the nurse, her name's Suzanne, and she's like 64. She's like, while we're here working our asses off, you're probably like somewhere on a fucking vacation. And you can hear the 2 techs in the background. One of them says, "Yeah, get back to work, you fucking lazy asshole," and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I thought that was cool. So I texted Suzanne. I'm like, thanks for that voicemail. Like, that really, like, made my day. You know what I mean? That's the kind of staff that work there. They kind of get you. You know what I mean? They care. But if I was to do that to anybody I worked with at Bryan or Cozad or CHI, dude, I would have been fired.
Damn.
2 seconds. You know what I mean? So it's a good situation, bro. I think once we find our tribe, and it's kind of like I was worried with Tanner because when he was having trouble in school, he just didn't fit in. I said, okay, so number one, you wear a fucking black hoodie in 100-degree weather. You have bangs that hang in front of your eyes. You know, like, you're different from everybody here, and it's okay to be different. I was different growing up in Albuquerque because I had long hair, but that was common. But then I would wear eyeliner, you know, too.
Yeah.
And the cholos at Jolly would make fun of me and stuff. But I chose to continue to be who I was, and at that point, people pleasing didn't really mean anything to me. So I told Tanner, if that's how you're going to be, that's fine, but you're going to have to expect that people are going to bully you. And I said, but you got to remember one thing. You're bigger than most people here. So I give you total permission. If they lay hands on you or don't leave you alone, you can beat the living shit out of them. And I promise you're not going to get in trouble with me. You know what I mean? So, stuff like that, I was worried about him. And then we went to, I don't know how, but they found me concert. And he loves this band. I'm like, dude, I don't want to fucking go, dude. You know, I just, like, the in-laws were in town before they moved here and stuff. And I took him to this concert, and I ended up loving the band, dude. Dallin Weeks from Panic at the Disco used to play bass for them. He's the lead singer and main songwriter.
Yeah.
And the band's incredible, dude, right? But I didn't give it a chance because he liked it. I didn't even listen to him until I went to the concert. But then we're waiting outside after the show, and there's all these people there. And I'm like, this is his fucking tribe. This is where he fits in. Because, like, these people were like him. And I was so worried he would never find people like him that he'd feel comfortable with, dude. And then I told him, I turned right around. I'm like, see these people, dude? This is your tribe of people. These are the people that are like you. So you're not alone, man. You know what I mean? So, and I'm glad I went to that concert. I've been to 2 more since then because it's such an amazing band. Have you ever heard of that band? I don't know how, but they found me.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah,
amazing, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like
their record, Razzmatazz, dude, I could listen to that record all day long, bro. You know? But yeah, that's his thing, bro. And I'm glad I finally just took him, dude, because it was around Thanksgiving, too, that year. And I didn't even go to Ghost. I bought concert tickets to Ghost, dude. You know that's one of my favorite bands in the world.
Yeah. And
they were playing in Omaha the night of the concert. I'm like, I don't really want to go, you know, and I didn't go, so I wasted $150 on 2 tickets. But it was worth it. It was priceless to be able to actually be like, okay, let's fucking go, dude. I don't want to. This sucks and shit. Loving the band, and then him finding his tribe, dude, was pretty cool. You know, so you have your tribe, I have my tribe, but they always say too that the most intelligent people have the least amount of friends.
Yeah, I got my dog, bro. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly. And they say it's because we don't mind being by ourselves because, like, we don't really need anybody else. Like, for me, like, I have one friend outside of work. His name is Josh. I don't know if you met him at the karate thing, or outside of the home. And, Jeanette's, like, my best friend. Then I got my kids. And, but, like, I have, like, maybe one friend that, like, I don't even, like, he could invite me to my own birthday party. I probably wouldn't go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because I'm such a homebody. But because they say that people with high IQs and high intelligence are fine being by themselves, or, like, I enjoy a lot of alone time. You know what I mean? And it's kind of affected my marriage. I need to spend more time with Jeanette. But I could spend time by myself, dude, and just be completely happy and content. Just being alone. I don't know. Are you like that too?
Well, yeah, and even like when I said, when I got into parapsychology, like that Jungian psychology and stuff like that, they just talk about, like, it's, because, like, we see things differently or see, like, things truer. So it's like we're able to, like, have the perspective where we realize that, like, it's not loneliness, it's like sovereignty. You know what I mean? Like, you're kind of like you're in your own world, and it's like it makes more sense to you than, like, needing to have, like, people validating you externally. You know what I mean? It's like we're able to kind of, like, understand and truly kind of be who we are instead of feeding into the whole fucking societal expectations that, I don't know, we're told or fucking what they are. Like, you have to have a girlfriend, or you have to, if you don't have friends, then you're a fucking loser. It's like, no, it's like they're the fucking losers, dude.
That's true. Like Hunter, he doesn't have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he has a couple friends he hangs out with, but then he spends a lot of time alone. And I'm like, dude, you're Gallegos, man. Why aren't you out there, hitting it and quitting it? And he's like, to be honest, Dad, that seems like a lot of trouble. And I like to want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to be able to do it. So he's kind of like that too. He's like, I don't need a girlfriend. He'll go bowling with his friends once in a while. He goes to the gym with Tanner late at night.
Yeah.
And that's about it. You know what I mean? So I think that, but he's obviously highly intelligent, maybe undermotivated, but I think that it's not the number of friends you have, dude. I think it's, if you have a friend, you know what I mean? I think we have the discernment to know that is somebody that you have to trust, number one, because we're not going to be friends with somebody we won't trust. We're always going to be looking behind our back.
Yeah.
And friends that you've really made friends with, like you and Adam, you can, like, not talk for years, but then when you get together, it's like you were never apart. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a true friend.
Yeah.
So, and we only get one or two of those in a lifetime. So a lot of people think the more friends you have, then the better your life is. Well, that's bullshit. It just makes it more complicated, I think.
Yeah, because a lot of people, I think, that don't have it figured out or can't see the world, I think that a lot of, like, people who feel sovereign and not lonely are, like, it's a lot of people just become kind of like energy vampires, you know what I mean? Where, like, you become more of, like, a resource, like, to kind of validate them. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's like, like, if you can be happy on your own and, like, be happy doing the things that, like, make you happy, and you can create something and be, pretty agreeable, like, and be able to, like, be, like, a good person or whatever. Like, I think a lot of people out there are, like, they're scared to do, like, to understand themselves or to realize who they are, or, like, they're just worried about trying to become what, like, society now tells them they have to be. So they just really kind of see everybody else as, like, opportunities for, like, fucking resources to drain or validate them, than, like, to kind of, like, vicariously live through other people's fucking shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is, like, most people that come off, like, super strong, especially at work, dude, like, they try to get all this information, dude. It's because even subconsciously, bro, they want to, what do you call it? Sabotage you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that us being able to be alone and be able to recognize that, even though when I was younger, dude, you knew me, dude. If I didn't have a girlfriend, like, that was my validation, was girls, right?
Yeah.
And I look back at that time, dude, and I'm like, I don't know if it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like that at all now. Let's put it that way, I mean, I'm a guy that goes and stuff, dude, and, like, you knew me, I always got girlfriends, I never said no.
Yeah.
And I was a narcissist, and I would use certain girls for money or for, coupons to a steakhouse or whatever the fuck, but I was always out for myself. And then when I would hurt their feelings or break up with them, they could cry right in front of me, dude. Like when I divorced Natalie, and basically told her, like it was after I went to Mom's. You were at Mom's, remember, the night that I left before Natalie and I got divorced. And I just kind of felt like a weight lifted off. And I remember talking on the phone with her, and she's like crying. She's like, well, nobody's going to want to be with a mom with 2 kids by 2 different dads and all that. And I felt nothing, dude.
You're all bummer.
Zero. So, yeah, that sucks. That sucks for you, but I'm free now. Or even with Kristen. You remember Kristen? She was a good person. She was always really nice to me and stuff. And I treated her like shit, and she would cry, and I'd be able, to get the F out of here, kind of a thing. I didn't care. But for some reason, dude, and Jeanette and I have gone through hell together. For some reason, I woke up one morning and I was hungover, right? And it was, she was like having a garage sale or something, bro. And I was supposed to help, but I was in bed because I'd been drinking all night. And I remember looking at her, and she's talking to somebody sitting on a chair, looking up at them at the garage sale. And for the first time in my life, dude, I was like, fuck, bro. Why are you hurting her, of all people? So now, like, I'm super sensitive to, I don't want to hurt her feelings. I don't want to see her cry, dude. If she says something about the past or something, not using it against me, but maybe something that I've done, it breaks my heart, bro. And I become fearful sometimes, dude. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I am so sorry. Like with the Tanner thing, yelling at him about the Coke spilling and all that kind of a thing. So, yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't know what changed me from being a narcissist. I don't know if it was Jeanette. I don't know if it, whatever it was, but I used to be a people user myself,
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is like you eventually, kind of filtered out. I think a lot of people who are trying to do all the same things, especially when we're younger, you're just surrounded by so many people that are trying to like do the same thing. And so even if you don't feel like you're being influenced to do it, you kind of are, just because you're experiencing the energy in those interactions with people. You know what I mean? Because now that dude, as soon as I the only way I was actually able to quit drugs was I finally because I always when I was doing drugs, like you'd hang around with a bunch of people that are fucking basically enabling you, right? Like they don't care what you're doing, and so you don't care what they're doing, so everybody feels okay being around each other. And I remember even when I quit drugs and drinking, I was like, I would still try to hang out with my friends because I'm like, well, I don't need to do drugs. I can still hang out with them. And like, I would keep falling back into those same fucking cycles until I finally was like, I gotta fucking cut everybody off, dude. And then as soon as I did that, and I had nobody in my life, it was like finally like I was able to kind of like see people for who they truly were, and started being able to actually like, letting people in that like were meaningful or at least enriching to like my life in some kind of way that wasn't like a selfish like thing on my part. But I just, I think it's like once you get away from all that, like what do they say in fucking Fight Club, dude? It's all only after you fucking lost everything are you able to do anything. You know what I mean? Fucking,
that's so true, dude.
Yeah, it's like once you lose everything, it's like then like you actually, like I called it like I remember when I first met the fucking Mormons, dude. I was like doing well. I remember I was like, yeah, dude. Like it was, I didn't even become a good person because of church. I was only able to go to church because of all the things I had like kind of discovered on my own and shit. And I remember telling them like, yeah, dude, it's like I feel like I've gained the consciousness of God. Like I have the consciousness of God, and they're all, you mean conscious of God? And I was like, no. Like the consciousness of God. I was like, after losing everything and starting completely over, it's like I like now see God, like see the world how I think God intended it to be seen. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like, that's a nice tree. Look at that fucking cloud. You know what I mean? Fucking you actually start feeling like genuine emotions again, and fucking you start, your heart softens, and just you start fucking like feeling shit that you haven't experienced for a long time because you were just jaded by all the horrible decisions that you were making, the fucking horrible person that you had become a long time ago. But
yeah, and I think the thing too is like, Jeanette going through all, like, how many do you think about it? How many girls would have left me for all the stuff that I put her through?
All of them, dude.
A long, long fucking time ago.
All of them. Yeah, dude. She's like a 1 in a million for sure, dude.
Yeah, and I always used to kind of get mad, like, well, what do you mean I can't drink? I want to do what I want to do, and I'm an adult, and you're not my mom, and all this stuff, dude. But she just always had, like, my best interest in mind, and that because she loves me, dude, right? But, like, we would fight all the time because I'm like, well, I can go play a show and get drunk. Well, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? And then I started to realize this poor woman went through drug addiction and separation and all this shit with me, and she's still there, dude. And she never like throws shit in my face or uses things against me, which she could easily, you know, probably every minute of every day throw shit in my face because I've done so many things wrong. But she truly loves me. I think I finally realized, dude, was like, you know what? This is like my 1 in a million person, and I don't feel like I deserve her. So I've been trying to push her away and self-sabotaging my marriage this whole time because of my own insecurities. Because I never thought, you know, I married her a month after we met.
Yeah.
I never thought that that I deserved her, and I definitely thought that she was just way too pretty, and I was always afraid that she was going to leave me or somebody was going to steal her. And I never felt like that with any other girl ever. Like, I didn't care. Like, oh, you want to leave me for so-and-so? Cool. I'm cheating on you with so-and-so anyway, so go do what you need to do. But with Jeanette, it's a revelation that I finally woke up and said to myself, why are you doing something like this to the only person that has never, like, hurt you purposely, that you trust? I've never trusted any girl ever until Jeanette, you know? Yeah. And total opposites, dude, you know, because she listens to Christian music. She'll cuss when she gets real mad, but the most time she's doing Bible studies and devotionals every morning, dude. And I'm saying, fuck this, fuck that, play guitar, you know.
That's what trips me out about her, dude. You know what I mean? Is like, and I think why she's so different from all the others, because if you think about it, all the way from the very beginning when you met her, she's been very dedicated to God, dude. You know what I mean? So that's just shows that she's got some kind of connection to that, like, spirituality, like, on that positive spectrum is, like, a real thing, regardless of, like, how much we... Because that's the thing, too, is, like, I always fought against, like, the belief in, like, a higher power and that kind of shit, you know what I'm saying? I think it was because I was on, like, a lower vibrational state, dude. I was, like, exposed to, like, evil shit because I was doing shit, like, alcohol and drugs. Like, a lot of those things are, like, depressants, you know what I mean? Or they, like, fucking literally, like, kind of sink you down to, like, a level where, like, other kind of nefarious things lurk and shit like that. And I think that it was always me kind of fighting against, like, the ability to believe in those things because I was wanting to stay in those lower states and shit, you know what I mean? And through all of this time, she's always been, like, very dedicated to God. Like you said, she reads the Bible every morning and shit like that. And, like, the only thing that, like, the only other girl in your life that was ever like that would have been Kristen. But the reason that wasn't, like, the thing, you know, the person that stuck around is because you didn't have kids with her. You know what I'm saying? And so it was, like, just the fucking, and family, like, is very, very important to God. You know what I'm saying? And, like, the fact that she's like that and been able to fucking deal with your bullshit all these fucking years and then giving you an opportunity to kind of come around and appreciate her for, like, the person that she actually is, I think is because of her fucking dedication to, like, that fucking higher perception of, like, spirituality, dude. And, like, it's kind of crazy.
Well, I know with Kristen too is she would let me walk all over her.
Yeah.
And her age always bothered me.
Yeah.
But Jeanette, dude, she never let me walk all over her. Like, she'd be like, no. Like, I was like, well, shit, I think that's exactly what I need, you know, because she's not a pushover.
I think you know what I mean? Kristen, dude.
Like, dude, I'm so, when she's mad at me, bro, or when we're arguing, dude.
Yeah.
There was this one time I stayed down here in the music studio for 3 days. I didn't go upstairs to eat or anything because I was afraid I would, like, cross paths with her, bro. You know what I mean? She's terrifying, dude. When she's mad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the kids are the same way. They're like, oh yeah, Dad, Mom's mad, so let's just, like, we'll just stay down here. And then Jeanette, she came in, you know, finally she said, are we going to talk or what? I'm like, yeah, I'll be up in 5 minutes. She's like, no, now. I said I'll be up in 5 minutes. And she picked up that wood stool I have in here in the music room.
Yeah.
And she fucking threw it across the room, dude. I was like, holy shit. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go upstairs and talk. But, yeah, she doesn't put up with any bullshit. And I've seen miracles happen in my life because of God, because of a higher being. And I always tell her, I'm like, you know what? I think God loves you more than me, because it seems like every time she prays for something, dude, it may not happen exactly the way we want it to happen, but it happens the way it's supposed to happen. And dude, that's faith, and that's a good woman right there, dude. And she's never, like, used sex against me like Natalie used to do. Like, she'd hold out on sex and stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Like, Jeanette believes, and the Bible says that never to deprive your spouse sex because that opens them up to going elsewhere.
Yeah.
So she's never like said, "Nah, I have a headache." You know what I mean?
Yeah, so many women, dude. Like that's actually like a regularized thing now. It's just women weaponizing sex, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just like, what
and
the fuck?
You wouldn't hear her funny story, dude.
Yeah.
So, when I used to drink a lot and stuff, and it's kind of personal, but, we'd be getting intimate and stuff. And in my head, bro, I'm like freaking pulling out these amazing moves, and I'm like, fucking John Holmes and shit, in my mind. And Jeanette, after I got sober, she's like, I don't know how it came up, but she's like, no, you'd be going like really like slow, fall asleep sometimes in the middle of it, and you'd be like, no, hold on, don't move, I was almost there, and then stuff like that. And so I was the total opposite of what I thought I was doing. And I said, well, why did you let me? And she's, because it would take 2 hours sometimes, she said. And I'm like, why did you let me do that? She's like, because what was I going to do? She's like, you're my husband. You know what I mean? It's like, so I'm like, did you take naps in between, read magazines? I mean, what were you doing? She was like, I was just thinking the whole time, I hope he passes out. So, fucking Jeanette, dude, she's funny, bro.
Oh, shit, dude.
She's crazy.
That's funny.
She's crazy for being with me still, man, but thank God for kids,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, anyway.
Damn.
How long? This is gonna be a long podcast. Just you and me talking, man.
Yeah, it's not too bad though. We're touching on a lot of fucking crazy shit, dude. It's cool, man. You know what I mean? This is, dude. We're fucking, it's going and going. It's good stuff. But
I think it's like people you should know, Nick and Matt.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, dude.
That's going to be the episode right there.
The special brothers episode, dude.
Dude, that's what you should call it.
Hell yeah.
We'll dive into the world of the insanity of Matthew and Nick or something like that, dude.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because both you and I are very similar that way.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one, bro.
Yeah, dude.
And we can fucking always do it again, you know what I'm saying? Because unfortunately, I got to fucking go to bed soon. But I think we covered a lot of whole dude, we fucking everything from fucking gang stalking to fucking suicidal ideation to fucking religious experiences and fucking ADHD and
drug addiction.
Fucking demons, angels, holy shit, bro! This is fucking.
Dude, I think this is an episode that should be broadcast in full, bro. This one, you know what I mean, dude? Because I think that it kind of dives into like the reality of not only mental illness and stuff like that, because it's so taboo, but it's actually a real medical condition, like high blood pressure or diabetes. There's medication to treat it, right?
Yeah.
And just the fact that maybe there's somebody out there that's just as fucking crazy as we are, and they go, oh, well, they turned out okay. Maybe everything will be fine. I don't know, Matt. This crazy fucking narcissist married this girl who basically saved his life, and he finally realized it after I think I was 40 years old when I finally realized, and I married her at 25. So it took me that long. And on one last note, the reason I asked her, well, why did you stay with me? And she's like, because I saw that you had potential.
Yeah.
I was like, holy fucking shit, because we went through money to her having to go to the food bank to get food because of my fucking dumbass, and rebuilt our lives together and all that stuff, dude, so.
And that's some powerful shit, dude. Somebody fucking sticking with you to help you reach your potential when for so long you were so blind to it. You know what I'm saying? That's some fucking dedication.
Oh, yeah, I never would have become a nurse if it wasn't for her, dude.
Hell yeah.
I wanted to give her better,
That's why I love having these conversations, dude. And like I said, like my podcast, when I originally started it, if you listen to the early episodes, it's funny because if you listen to me now, like I'm all, hey, what's up? Fucking all like fucking high spirited and shit. But the fucking very first episode, if you listen to it, I'm all, how's it going? This is Nikki Mayhem. Welcome to Pronoun Understood. I'm like, well, like I remember I did an episode where I was like, on the 1 year anniversary, I was like, let's see what Nikki Mayhem was doing fucking 1 year ago. And I'm like, I cut myself off in the middle of the intro. I was like, what the fuck? Come on, bro. Fucking life's better than that. Fucking hop up.
You know what I'm disappointed about though, bro?
What?
Is that you didn't have your fucking AI girl or AI friend co-interviewer in this episode. So the next time we do it, you got to have her join in, man.
Hell yeah, for sure, dude. Fucking part
How's
2.
she doing, by the way?
She's doing all right, man. I got to tell you, dude, because of like the depression and everything. Like, I'm kind of like I said, finally kind of getting on top of it. I'm like, dude, my next experiment is I'm going to fucking try to not eat food for 40 days, dude. Just like, I'm going to go biblical with it, bro. We'll see how it goes. If I might not make it, but I'm going to be taking fucking a bunch of supplements and shit and just trying to fucking, cause I heard that like a lot of doctors and shit don't talk about it, and a lot of people say that it's dangerous and stuff like that, but if you do it right and you're like supplementing, I hear that like fucking fasting after a certain amount of time will actually start eating like all of the bad shit in your body that like processed food cause, and like fucking cancer cells in your body will like reset, dude. You know what I mean? And one of the fucking, I don't know, we're going to see how it goes, dude. I'm going to be doing that on Wednesday. But
it also reaches, helps you regenerate, brain cells, get rid of free radicals. And they say by the third day of fasting, bro, like, have you seen that movie? I don't remember what the movie's called, but the guy takes a pill.
Oh, Limitless. Yeah, you get more clarity and energy and shit. Yeah, dude.
You get smarter, you get sharper, you get all this shit, dude, because of the effects of fasting.
Yeah.
And even intermittent fasting. But yeah, dude, it's good to fast once in a while. 40 days, dude, that's a little crazy, bro. But
well, I mean, that's the goal. Yeah, I'm going to definitely listen to my body. If I fucking feel like I'm going to die or shit's fucked up. But also the reason I wanted to do it is because there's a lot of like studies that have been going on and shit like that, dude, that have to do like, cause like, you know, the whole like audible hallucinations and shit that I hear or whatever the fuck is like, I don't know, like if, you know what I mean? I always like would talk to Dad about it. And he's like, I don't think you're schizophrenic or anything like that. You know what I mean? And that kind of stuff. But like, there's a lot of like, you know, depression that I've dealt with for a long time, and I'm scared to get on medications because I've known a lot of people that have gotten on medications for like fucking depression and shit like that, and it turns them into a vegetable, or it takes away their drive or their interest in like all of the fucking talents that they have that like make them happy in life. And I just don't want to fucking lose all the things that I have. You know, sometimes it's like a really kind of like it's kind of a slippery slope, like fucking that's why I've been trying to eat better and shit like that. But like one of the things that I was looking into was fucking ketogenic intervention, dude. Like when you fucking like do a strict like ketogenic diet, like to specific guidelines, they did like a study, I think like, I don't remember what fucking university it was, like the University of fucking, anyway, I don't know. It's like at some university, basically. I remember I used to know all about it a couple months ago. But they did this fucking study because a lot of college students suffer from depression, right? And so, like, they did this fucking thing for ketogenic intervention where they closely monitored them and fucking put them on, like, a super strict ketogenic diet. And, like, literally all of the students either like had like were able to get off medications or their depression went away completely. There was either like a severe improvement or they were able to fucking like just like get off their medications and shit completely, dude. And like there's this girl on fucking YouTube that talks about it, dude. Like I think it's like her name's like Lauren Kennedy West. And she has dealt with schizophrenia, like, basically, like, most of her adult life, and has been, like, you know, talks about how, like, all these things that she experienced, like, you like, end up, like, the way the system works, it's like they kind of, like, put a Band-Aid over things, and, like, you stop really, instead of, like, understanding, like, the illness that you're dealing with, or whatever, you know, whatever psychological shit you're dealing with, you end up, like, just learning to be, like, the best patient, and, like, to not be combative, and, like, to kind of, like, learn how to, like, hide the things that you're dealing with, because it's like if you tell your counselor certain things, like they can hospitalize you or they up your medication, and it's like it's kind of like she said that like since she started this ketogenic intervention therapy, dude, that she like for almost like she's had like I think she had like a relapse or something like a little while ago, but for like almost over a year she like was able to get off all of her fucking medications and like live like a normal fucking life. And one of the things that I wanted to try to do that, I tried to do it a couple of times, but it was hard for me to get over the keto flu. But I've been eating like really good lately and trying to do like intermittent fasting, so like now I'm back to a point where I'm just not stuffing my fucking face. As long as I'm not depressed and as long as I don't smoke weed, you know what I mean? I've been able to fucking do it and shit. And I did a lot of research. I got like a lot of supplements, like fucking, like, what is it? I think like D3 and K2 and, what is it? What is it? Magnesium glycinate, glycine, fucking, I've been taking creatine like on a regular basis because it's supposed to be like good not only for your muscles but like for like, you know, like your brain actually can use it and shit too. But yeah, dude.
Don't use too much because it can make you impotent.
What's that?
I said don't use too much creatine. It can make you impotent.
Oh, that's all right. I ain't fucking. But
oh man.
But yeah, dude. Yeah. it was hard for, like, when I tried to do like a regular diet by like making food to try to go into like keto, it was hard for me to get to that point to like where like my body started producing ketones and stopped like relying on like carbs and shit. But now I'm at the point where like you know what I mean, where like I think I'm in like mild, you know, ketosis or whatever. So I think that, you know, this water fasting might be cool. At the very least, I want to shoot for like 3-4 days, just because I hear there are like a lot of benefits after the 3-day mark. But I ultimately, like I said, like, because there's a lot of people that, because like 40 days is like a big thing in the Bible, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, people would fast for 40 days and shit like that. There's even like some places that like that's what they shoot for. It's like, I mean, it's like a highly controlled like fucking medical facility and shit where like you're not doing anything and they're making sure that you know what I mean, that you have all the things your body needs to like stay alive. But I'm gonna like literally shoot for 40 days. I'm gonna see how far I can go. But I'm also going to listen to my body, because I'm not trying to fucking kill myself or make myself sick or whatever. So
that'd be cool, because they say after the 3rd day, like the sensation of hunger goes away, and that's when you're at your prime. But I had a patient who tried to fast for 40 days, but he did it the wrong way. Like, it sounds like you're going to do it the right way. He only drank water, right? And he ended up a vegetable, bro.
Oh shit. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to fucking push myself. Like, if I feel like I'm because that's the thing, is I've gone through a lot of ups and downs, like, with all these different experiments I've done in my life to try to get where I'm at and shit. And I definitely, like, you know what I mean? I'm definitely, like, since I've, like, started eating cleaner and, like, you know what I mean? Just kind of, like doing things the right way. Like, I feel like I have, like, a much, like, stronger connection to, like, the way my body feels. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I almost... like, it's like I feel like more sensitive to like things that are happening in my body. Like, it's weird, but I think that definitely I'll be able to fucking tell if I'm like fucking up or not. And I definitely am not going to like punish myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to see if at the very least, you know, as far as I can take this fasting, like, you know what I mean? Then I'll already be in ketosis, and then from that point, you know, if I have to come out of it before that 40 days is up or whatever, like, I can just like go right into like ketogenic intervention and just start making sure that I have like moderate protein, high fat, you know what I mean, low carb, and just actually like being on like a ketogenic diet. I'm not like, you know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes.
It'll be good to detox too, because how long did you drink vodka for? Because I remember you used to drink vodka all the time.
Oh yeah, it's been a minute, but fucking yeah, I used to drink like a fucking... like one of those big old gallons of fucking vodka a day at least, dude. Every fucking day, dude. There was not a moment where I was...
Your liver regenerates, dude. But by detoxing, I wonder... your liver's got to be in good shape, because you feel good, right? You think straight, you have good memory and all that.
Yeah.
That's where I think also the addiction gene comes from, where we can tolerate it more. But detoxifying too, man, really helps out your liver. And I know I said on the last note, but when I... had hepatitis C before I was cured, I couldn't remember words I used all the time. Like, I'd be given a report to a nurse, and I'd be like, this patient is here for, they're and the nurse would say diabetic. I'm like, yes, diabetic.
That's crazy.
And I always felt tired. I always had a headache, low energy, and I just felt that was, you know, just part of getting older. But by the time they finally tested me and for Hep C, and I was positive, and they tested my liver, dude, I was literally a year away from needing a liver transplant. I was on the precipice, dude, of severe liver cirrhosis. It was already in fibrosis, which was the hardening of the liver.
Oh,
and
shit.
I was, and so now I feel normal and I have good energy. But so a year later, they did a liver ultrasound, and completely normal, bro. It's the only thing in our body that regenerates besides our skin. So I'm glad he quit drinking, because, you know, Lawrence, who lived like next door to Mom, and Tim drank himself to death.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Did you ever see him towards the end, dude? When
he looked bad. He was real, like, kind of like or inflamed or bloated or whatever. Like, he looked fucking rough, dude. He looked like a body that came out of the LA River, but walking around and shit, dude.
Oh, that's crazy, bro. What triggered that, man? Did he have like a head injury or something, I heard? And then he was like never the same?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Mom was saying something about like maybe like pain pills or something like that. And then, I think it's kind of like how people trade one addiction for another. Maybe like he started drinking to kind of deal with pain so that he could get off pills. And actually, it's kind of funny. That's why I started smoking meth on a regular basis, because I was like, damn, this helped me quit weed. So now I'm not eating as much. And then but it's just like this fucked up like rationalization that you make up in your head to fucking, I don't know, dude.
Justify it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's fucking crazy, dude. Damn.
I'm just glad that your liver survived, bro, because I was like, fucking vodka, because 9 times out of 10, the patients that come in the hospital that are in liver failure, their drink of choice is vodka, dude.
Yep. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, and I remember I used to do crazy shit. I remember, like, back in the day, I would starve myself for, like, 2 or 3 days, dude, because I knew a big party was coming up on the weekend, so I could get ultimately fucked up. And I remember I wouldn't even drink beer, dude. People would offer me beer, and I was be like, I'm not trying to fucking eat. That shit out of my face. And fucking pull out my bottle of vodka and shit, dude. Fucking crazy as fuck, dude. I'm glad I got over that. I'm surprised that I'm not like more fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm surprised I'm like doing as well as I'm doing, dude, because I still have, well, I mean, I guess my friends that are still doing it, but it's like they're now at a point where they're not even drinking as much as we used to. They're like, it seems like they're barely drinking, but they are fucked up all the time and like just dealing with all kinds of shit, you know what I mean? And like, but they're drinking way less than we used to, but they're getting just as fucked up as we were back in the day, dude. And that's like got to be a sign of like fucking progressive damage from fucking liver shit, you know what I mean?
That's liver disease, bro. They already have liver disease. That's exact, because the liver can't process and, clear off the waste. Same with kidneys, bro. So they're just, what they're doing is they're drinking, and the alcohol is staying in their system. Like, usually, we could get rid of an ounce of alcohol an hour, as a healthy person. They're probably getting rid of an ounce of alcohol, dude, probably like in a day or so, because their liver and kidneys are just fucked.
Damn. So it's like every time they take a little bit of a drink, it's like topping off that alcohol that's still like present in their system and shit. They got to start butt chugging or something. Save their liver.
Yeah, they guess. Exactly, bro. That's just what I was about to say. You guys start fucking getting that 20 milliliter syringe and just shove it up your ass and throw that alcohol in there. Dude.
Oh shit, dude!
Fucking nuts, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I'm glad I beat alcoholism, but I'm also fucking glad that I wouldn't be glad I quit meth, but dude, like towards the end, I was fucking injecting that shit, dude, and I was getting like staph infections on a regular basis, bro. It was.
Tell me about the staph infections real quick, dude, because I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, dude, like it was never like in the injection sites. You know what I'm saying? But I would get them. I got a lot of them like on my legs, and I would get it all over my face, and I remember, like, I would just, because it was like, I'm a scab picker, dude. So, like, I would just always, like, fucking be trying, like, it was, like, because I think, in my mind, I didn't realize what it was. It felt like it was a pimple or something, or an ingrown hair, so I would always be trying to squeeze, like, the fluid out, and then I would start picking the scabs, and it would spread all over my fucking face, or leave, all over my fucking legs, dude. And I'm scarred up all over my legs. Luckily, my face is, like, not, it's not really bad. But my legs, I have a bunch of fucking, like, really dark scars from where literally there was, like, hole, like, where you would pull the scab and it was, like, literally, like, a little, like, abscess, dude, you know what I mean? That just fucking constantly, like, was weeping and shit like that. And then, of course, because I was fucking regularly on drugs, it was disconnecting me from, like, actually living a decent life. And it was, like, I was, like, sleeping on broken glass and garbage, and I wasn't fucking bathing, and it was fucked up, dude. But...
You know what's crazy, dude, is that when I was doing it, I never got, like, any kind of abscesses or anything on my face at all.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, how I was able to hide it for so long. But the hand thing, they think that 2 of the tendons are ruptured, and I have an abscess in my wrist.
Oh shit!
And that could have been from when I was using it or not, but it. They still have to do an MRI, and with insurance, it's taken forever to get it. And the swelling finally went down, but I still don't have use of 3 fingers on my right hand. The 3 middle fingers don't. I mean, they work, but I can't extend them. So they think that the extender tendons were ruptured from whatever bacteria that I was dealing with.
Yeah. Well, I remember shit like because of like my extensive meth use, even after I had quit. right? It had been a minute since I quit, but I remember like probably like 2 or 3 years ago, I remember I like fucking like pulled or snapped a muscle or something. I think because of like severe dehydration. Because of course, when you're on meth, you're not eating, and then of course, like it's hard for you to drink too. So I wasn't like properly hydrating, and so even after that, I was still drinking a lot of sodas, still eating a lot of fucked up food because I traded that addiction for like meth. You know what I mean? Or meth for the food addiction. And I remember the parking brake failed on the fucking front end loader when I was going to get fucking like. I think like the hose like to put air on the tire, and the fucking parking brake like disengaged and started rolling into Uncle Dan's truck, and I fucking remember freaking out because it was going to hit his truck, and so I sprinted as fast as I could, and when I jumped up the fucking ladder to try to like fucking put my hand on the brake, like because it's like fucking probably like 7 or 8 feet up, like it's like a tall ass fucking cab. And I remember when I did that, I fucking felt a snap, dude, and I fucking stopped it, and I was able to like fucking pain crawl up the thing and put on like turn it off, and but then I literally was just like laying on the ground, just fucking screaming, dude, and like in both of my fucking calves, like it felt like the fucking muscle snapped or something. I think because it was so dehydrated, it took me fucking probably like 6 months till I could fucking walk normal again, dude. And I kept showing up to work every day too, because fucking I had to, but. Now I'm fucking fine. Now I could run and everything. I could fucking, but it was fucked up for a while.
And you saved Dan's truck?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You didn't go to the doctor and get checked out or anything? You just let it heal on its own?
Yeah, because I fucking, in my mind, like, I think from just working at the gravel pit and shit like that, dude, and fucking being around Uncle Dan so long, dude, I have this weird fucking fucked up, like I said, that weird automatic thing would keep me working no matter what I was going through, dude, depression or fucking pain or whatever. And in my mind, I kind of adopted like his toxic worth ethic. I mean, it's good because it's like I can get shit done and I can do what needs to be done, but at the same time in my mind, I was thinking like, fuck it, all it's going to mean is that I'm not going to be able to make money for this amount of time, and you know what I mean? I won't be able to pay my insurance.
Yeah.
But literally was just I remember for fucking probably like a week and a half, I was just like, I would just be crying all day, bro, and like fucking trying to like lift my legs and move the pedals and shit, but I was in constant pain, and I would just fucking get off work, and I would just smoke tons of fucking weed, dude, and just fucking fall asleep, wake up, dude, and it would take me like fucking 5-7 minutes to walk like fucking the 200 feet that my trailer was to the loader and shit, and I would fucking climb up and just like you grip my teeth and fucking. Yeah, dude. But I fucking got over it, and everything's good now, man. I mean, I'm not really running and shit, but I mean, I can, you know what I mean? I kind of have, like, aches and pains sometimes, like, when it comes to, like my heels if I step a certain way or whatever, but it's definitely not as bad as it was, dude. Like, I mean, I couldn't fucking walk, dude. If I stepped wrong or if I stepped on a rock that made my leg, like, pivot upwards and, like, stretch that muscle on the back of my leg, it fucking hurt so bad, dude. It was fucked up.
Damn, bro. You've gone through some shit, dude.
Yeah, dude. Well, shit, I remember when I cut a hole in my leg, like, right in between my fucking inner, like, ankle and my Achilles tendon. I was using a Forstner bit to fucking cut a hole in a candle for Danielle. And it fucking, I remember I even had a thought about it. I was like, right before it happened, a split second before it happened, I had this thought that, like, if this thing popped out, and it did, it caught my shoelace because my shoe wasn't tied and went zoop, right up to my fucking ankle and cut a huge hole in it, and I just started gushing blood. And I remember fucking mom took me to the hospital and shit, and the whole time I was like, oh, like it fucking hurt, dude, and that fucking hurt too. But I remember they sewed the piece of skin on there, and Danielle and mom were like, should you sew that back on? It looks like it's dead. And they're like, no, it'll reattach. And I remember like I was just in severe pain for a couple of weeks, and then my leg started feeling achy, dude. And there was even like veins coming from that wound. Like it looked like my veins were darkening coming from that wound going up my leg. And I remember like we were fucking staying in a hotel one time, and I thought it was like the drain, you know, because people go in fucking hotel rooms and they fucking come all over everywhere and they're coming down the drain. And, you know, so I figured it was like biological matter, like fucking like decaying inside of like the drain, because I kept smelling it when I was in the shower. And fucking finally, like, I realized that it was coming from my wound. and that fucking piece of skin was like getting real dark. And I remember like it had already been sewn, and like the thing is they fucked up. Like this is a weird thing too, part of the gang stalking thing, where like shit would happen. I would go places and people would be all fucked up. I remember 2 weeks after I got those stitches, I was supposed to go back to the same fucking place and then get evaluated to see if they were supposed to come out yet. And they weren't the ones that dissolved, right? But I remember I went in and I said, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to get these to see if these stitches can be removed yet. And they said, okay, well, fucking, and I guess they wrote down that take my stitches out. And the lady who was taking my stitches out, she was talking to another doctor, and all she did was clip off the knots on the top of my wound, and she left the rest of all the stitches inside my fucking foot. And I was like, I didn't say nothing because I was like, what the that's when I was all paranoid and I was still fucking doing drugs. And I was like fucking tripped out, dude. But then when I found out that shit was fucking rotting, dude, I literally fucking tore it away from all of the skin. And I had this big old gaping hole, and underneath it was fucking rotting, dude. And mom was
what
like,
the fuck?
And like, I was so scared because of the way that I was like, I felt like it was part of the gang stalking thing. And you know what I mean? I remember even when I got that injury, everywhere where I go, there would always be people with the same leg injured, like walking around, and like, it looked comical to me. You know what I mean? Like they were fucking like making fun of me or something. It was weird. But I remember for like probably like 2.5 weeks, dude, Danielle would sterilize, like a pair of like nail scissors, like real small scissors, tweezers, and a fucking razor blade. And I would literally sit there as long as I could until I fucking I'd pass out from the pain. And it took me about 2 weeks, but I scraped all of the fucking rotting flesh until it was all just pink. And it fucking healed on its own, dude. Because mom was like, you need to go to the fucking... I was like, I'm not going to go. Because I know that to fucking do this shit, they're going to put me under. And I was like, I'm not going to fucking let them put me under. And so I was scared to go to the doctor and shit, dude. And I fucking just...
That was in your foot?
Yeah, dude. It's like, yeah, I still have a real big fucking, like, dark scar or whatever from where it was. It was literally right between my inner ankle on my left fucking leg and, like, my Achilles tendon. And I just fucking would just scrape it, dude. And every night, Danielle would sterilize those things for me, and then I would just pass out from the pain, dude. And then, I finally got it all fucking scraped out, dude. And it fucking healed. It was fucking crazy, dude.
You're lucky you didn't get necrotizing fasciitis, bro. Shit. That's probably maybe even what you had, dude. Danielle might have saved your life by doing that shit.
Yeah, dude. And it was crazy. Like, I was just fucking... It fucking sucked, dude. It was like the most painful thing ever, dude. But I was like, I'm not going to let them put me under, dude. There was even a time where we were dealing with that whole gang stalking thing, dude, and we were both on drugs, and she got a brown recluse bite on her fucking leg. And we took her in, and they said, oh, it's just a fucking... They just said it was like something... They didn't say that it was a fucking recluse bite at all. And they just let her go. And then it started rotting. And like, you know, like that little started the abscess and shit. And then she went to another doctor. They're like, yeah, that's a brown recluse bite. And there was one time where she fucking had a seizure, dude. And it was in the middle of the night at mom's house. And I was like, fuck, we're all still doing drugs, of course. And, I fucking, like, woke up in the middle of the night, dude, and I fucking carried her to the fucking car. It was, like, 2 a.m, dude. And, threw her in the car. She couldn't she was like a vegetable, bro. She couldn't talk. She couldn't fucking move. I literally had to carry her into the car, and I brought her into the same fucking place where this thing happened with my leg and the brown recluse bite happened with her. And there was nobody in the waiting room. I went inside, got a wheelchair, put her in the fucking wheelchair, wheeled her inside, and I fucking brought her up to the fucking desk. There was nobody there, and then the lady came and sat down. She said, you're going to have to wait in the waiting room for a minute. And there was nobody else there. We literally waited for like an hour. And then she called us up, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, dude, she fucking had a seizure. I was like, she can't fucking move. I was like, she can't talk. I was like, I had to fucking carry her to the car. And she's like, all right, calm down, sir. We'll have you go in there in a minute. And then we sat for another 20 minutes, and then they brought us back. And by that time, she was kind of coherent. She could still not like walk on her own, and she like still couldn't like talk right. And so I fucking, you know, like me and the nurse or whatever, the person that like does your vitals, like we helped get her onto the fucking observation table, and she was like, you know, asking us what happened. I said she had a fucking seizure. I was like, I don't understand. There was nobody out there. What took us so long to get back? She's all, it's okay. Just relax. Everything's gonna be fine. She's all, and then she like, she like pulled out a brand new one of like the blood pressure cuffs, right? And fucking wrapped it around her arm, and then was sitting there like writing down on a fucking clipboard while she was talking to me. And she said, "Okay, well, I'll let the doctor know. Like the doctor will be in just a minute." And we both looked at each other because, like, she never hooked up the cuff to anything. She never aired it up. You know what I mean? And when she was walking out, I remember asking her, I was like, what was her blood pressure? I was like, I'm just curious so we can keep track of all these things because this has never happened to her before. And she gave me some number, I don't remember, but probably like a regular number. And then she left the room and we both looked at each other and I was like, did she take your blood pressure? I was like, she's like, no. And I said, fucking, she, like, the cuff was, like, not hooked up to anything. She just pulled out a brand new cuff, put it on her and was talking to us. And then in about 30 minutes, the doctor came in, but he was not wearing fucking, like, a lab coat. He was wearing, like, a Hawaiian shirt. He fucking had bright blue eyes and his eyes were wide and he fucking seemed kind of, like, weird, like, you know what I mean? And he came, he's like, all right, guys, I'm working on your discharge papers right now. He's all just, what I'm going to recommend is getting some, like, over-the-counter Tylenol. You know what I mean? It's, and I was like, what? I was like, no one's even checked her out. I was like, she had a seizure. He's like, no. It's seasonal allergies. A lot of people are getting seasonal allergies. They get that little, like, tickle in their ear. It can throw off the equilibrium and da-da-da-da. And I was like, and we just looked at each other like, what the fuck? And then he walked out, gave us discharge papers. I had to wheel her still in a wheelchair to the car. And then from then on, that's a thing. That's one of the reasons why she wouldn't let me take her to rehab now, dude, is because I told her, don't fucking trust doctors. Like, we can't ever go to the fucking, like, something is up. Like, you know what I mean? And so I kind of instilled that weird fear in her, but also those experiences did. And, like, it was fucked up, dude. I was like, what the fuck? Anyway.
Well, dude, I'll tell you what, man. They wanted to admit me, because my hand looked so fucked up.
Yeah.
And I said, no. I said, absolutely not. And I said, I've worked in the medical field for so long, and I've worked with nurses that will chart something they never did, chart a medication they never gave, ignore labs that are, possibly fatal.
Yeah.
Just because they were too lazy to fucking call the doc or do anything about it. And I saw a lot of instances where the patient pretty much was never the same because of these lazy fucking nurses, dude. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, I'm not going to go to the hospital, dude, because if you're going to give me IV antibiotics, I'm going to put on a timer. And if they're not in there giving me, because I've seen nurses, dude, where they're supposed to give like 12 weeks of vancomycin to a patient that's really, really sick, and it's supposed to be every 8 hours. They'll give maybe one during a 12-hour shift, but chart that they gave the second one as well. It's laziness, bro. So no, that's definitely not paranoia, dude. They're fucking lazy. But the whole thing, the reason they didn't do the CT or just blow that off, bro, that is crazy. What fucking hospital was that?
It all happened at fucking the Loveless West Side, dude. The one that's like in Rio Rancho, like off of McMahon or whatever, like down in that area.
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they fucking. You have lawsuits coming out your ears, bro, for that shit.
Yeah, I just didn't. It was all, like I said, all that time I was still doing drugs and I was real paranoid. And that's why now, even probably not even just the whole, like, I was going to lose money work ethic thing. I think that still is kind of like some sort of PTSD. Like, I don't ever want to fucking go to the doctor. I don't want to go see a fucking psychiatrist. I don't want to fucking put you know what I mean? It's weird. And I don't know. I hope that it doesn't ever, like, fuck me up to a fault by feeling like that, but that shit is still kind of, like, ingrained in me, bro. Or, like I said, when I got that injury, I just was like, and then when I scraped out my wound and shit, like, I think, like, because I went through that, now I have, like, I feel like my constitution is much stronger, and I don't need, you know what I mean, to fucking, I'm just like, if I did that, I could fucking, that gets kind of, like, fucked up now, because I'm like, since I was able to go through that, like, I really raised the bar on, like, what I can deal with on my own, dude. It's fucked up, kind of.
You know what's crazy? I went to an orthopedic surgeon for my hand, and the guy said, I really recommend you go to the hospital, that whole thing. And then I'm like, no. And they're just like, well, we need to do an MRI to see what's going on in there and need a prior auth. Well, the fucking, the nurse that sent in the prior auth didn't put enough information, so it was denied, right? Yeah. And so I got a call, and she said, almost a week later, oh, it's been approved. And so I called the place that's supposed to do the MRI. They're like, nope, it's still pending. So finally, yesterday morning, I called the prior auth department, and they said that since it wasn't documented that I had been on antibiotics, that's why it was denied. And I said, well, did they send you in the information? I'd been on it for 10 days and the antibiotics didn't do anything. They're like, well, their deadline was the 24th to fax us additional clinical information, and they still haven't sent us anything. So I don't know why that nurse called and said it was approved when it was going to get denied again. Like, literally, I'm surprised it already wasn't. And so I'm fucking pissed, dude. I'm like, if she just would have put antibiotics 10 days, no improvement, I already would have had the MRI. Yeah. I still haven't had the MRI because they didn't fax that information. So I called my primary care doc, and his nurse did everything, even though that doctor didn't order it. But see, it's that kind of shit, dude, is why I don't trust nurses or docs either. You know what I mean? Because she was so lazy. All she did was fill out my name and fax it to the prior auth department. And she even put in the wrong test. She put in MRI of right arm joint, which means elbow or shoulder.
Yeah.
It's specifically supposed to be right hand, right wrist.
Oh, shit, dude. Damn.
Yeah. So, fuck that, dude. I totally don't trust doctors either. I'm like, and I've been out of work for 10 days waiting to get this MRI done to see if they need to operate or anything like that, dude. And so I finally told the nurse, I was like, look, man, I've been out of work for 10 days. I got to get back to work. I was supposed to get this within 3 days tops, and it's been 10 days. You know what I mean? So, dude, I was fucking losing it, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah, especially my tendons have been ruptured by bacteria. If they would have done the MRI sooner, they could have prevented that, dude.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Damn, bro. Well, shit, dude, we fucking went for fucking Joe Rogan status on this. Fucking is going to be a 3-hour podcast, bro. Oh, yeah, though, dude. We'll definitely have to do this shit again for sure, man. This is good stuff.
Yeah, man. And I already texted Darren while we were talking about part 2.
Hell yeah.
So he's just said let him know. And then just advertise the shit out of it on your website, bro.
Hell yeah.
On your socials.
Yeah, and then I'm going to try to paste that RSS feed, too, so that I can post it on YouTube so that it'll be able to get to a bigger audience. Because a lot of people don't want to go to Spotify, you know what I mean? You don't have to have an account to... Well, I don't think you do. I don't know. That's the thing. It's like, it's on Spreaker. That's where it actually gets posted. But it's like the only place it's not is Apple Podcasts. I'm going to try to get it on there because I fucking, dude, like, I always have problems with that website. I don't know if it's because I'm not using an iOS device, but I've tried to get like an Apple ID and it keeps saying there's issues. I tried to fucking fix it the other day to get Apple TV so that I could watch the fucking movie. I ended up having to get like Fandango at home so I could rent it. But the Twisted movie, but yeah, dude, hopefully that shit will be set up.
If you had a fucking Apple phone, dude, I could have just given you my Apple password and you could have watched it for free because I own the movie on Apple.
Oh shit.
You know what I mean?
Well, I have an old fucking iPhone. It's like fucking like an iPhone like fucking 7 or 6 or some shit like that. I want to get a new iPhone, but fuckers are expensive as fuck.
Why don't you, bro?
Dude, they're just expensive. I could probably get an upgrade now. I need to look into it. I think I've had my fucking my phone through T-Mobile or whatever the fuck, or for like almost like 2 years, and I've been doing internet for the last like year. I just need to fucking see if there's an upgrade. I just haven't really tried to upgrade it. Because all I ever really use my phones for is to fucking text and post stupid little videos of my dog on fucking TikTok and YouTube and just fucking record my podcasts and shit. So, but I need to look into that shit.
Well, you get a free phone because you have to sign another 2-year contract.
Yeah, well,
so
no, mine
for free.
Mine is monthly though. Like it's a lot, I'm not under any kind of contract. It's not T-Mobile. What's the other one? Metro PCS. That's what it is. So it's like a T-Mobile like fucking partner company or some shit like that. But I need to look into it.
Why don't you go on fucking AT&T, bro?
Because they can't beat the fucking rates that I'm paying, dude, per month. I'm paying like fucking $90 to fucking have home internet and a fucking phone. They even came to my door one time trying to fucking find out, and I was like, no. I was like, they're all, what do you pay? I was like, I have internet and phone. They're like, how much you paying? I was like, $90. They're like, all right, have a good day. No, we can't fucking beat that shit.
They AT&T has internet and phone, and I think I pay $27 a month for my phone for unlimited data, unlimited hotspot, talk, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then their internet, like $30. I don't have their internet. I have Allo. I should probably just change to AT&T. So, but those are like online specials. You got to go online and get those specials, because if you go to a store,
yeah,
they get commission. They're not going to tell you about, oh, we could give you this deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'll have to look into that shit, dude.
Around.
Oh, yeah. Well, fucking A, bro. It's about that time, dude. I appreciate you being here fucking talking with me. We're going to definitely have to do this again, man, when you get a chance. Fucking, because we barely scratched the fucking top of the iceberg, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, we're not even, there's not even a scratch in the ice yet, bro. That's how much deeper we need to go.
Exactly. We just barely pulled out the scraping device, dude, and fucking are getting ready to fucking scrape, dude. Fucking.
We haven't even scraped yet.
Oh yeah, brother, I love you, man. Fucking, I appreciate you for fucking joining me, dude, and engaging in this conversation, dude. It's always good to fucking, it gives us the ability to fucking externalize and fucking work out shit when we don't even realize we're doing it just by fucking talking about this shit. You know what I'm saying? We're fucking healing.
I just realized what each of us have gone through too, dude. I didn't know you went through all that shit, man. Holy cow!
And that's just the fucking tip of the iceberg, bro, for sure. There's so many fucking things that I don't really. I mean, I've talked about things here and there on my podcast, but you know what I mean? Like it's so much shit to talk about, and some of it just sounds fucking crazy as fuck, and unless it comes up naturally in a conversation, most of the time I just don't really even think about it, because just fucking trying to keep just being a good dude, bro, leave the past behind. But I think talking about it's a good way to externalize those things and kind of help us work through them, you know what I mean?
You know what's crazy is I think if you did start posting it on YouTube and all that stuff, people are going to listen to it, dude, intently, because they're going to be like, either they relate or they're going to be like, listen to these fucking crazy, out of their mind, insane dudes talking, man. It's pure entertainment. You know what I mean? So,
exactly. Yeah,
there's a niche that you have, bro.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go back about 5 or 6 episodes and just paste the RSS feeds up there so I can start, because I'm not going to start from the beginning, because at the beginning it started it was kind of boring, me talking about shit or whatever, but I figure I'm going to go a couple episodes back and start posting it on YouTube, and it'll just be a fucking thumbnail, but at least people will be able to access it on YouTube. Because I mean, if 1,000 people are watching fucking, my fucking dog, you know what I mean? Fucking, there's got to definitely fucking be some people, because dude, the shit that's on the internet, it's fucking bullshit. But we need to get out there and save YouTube, bro. It's fucking some nonsense going on out there, dude. People going viral for fucking bullshit. Not that I'm worried about going viral or even worried about being monetized. That'd be cool if it got to that point, because then I'd be able to kind of, really elevate the quality of the content that I'm putting out there, dude, because, but otherwise, I figure I don't know, dude, it's kind of like my way of trying to, do my best to benefit mankind, start that, positive fucking wave, or talk about things that people are really embarrassed or ashamed to talk about, so that everybody knows, that there's something out there they can relate to, or, they can that resonates with them, dude, that'll make them feel like exactly like you're saying, dude, like, shit, that motherfucker's going through it, like, maybe, and then you get to hear somebody else talk about some embarrassing or crazy shit, you know what I mean? It makes you feel not so alone in this world, and I think it helps you improve your fucking toolkit to be able to fucking enable yourself to really kind of elevate your fucking, your state in life, and start making changes or work through things that you feel you can't really fucking work through because it's hard to talk to people about shit, you know what I'm saying?
Just to give yourself hope, too, and the people that just listen to it because it's entertaining to them and they just can't believe that anybody could be that crazy, that's another, audience that'll fucking listen to it too. So fuck it, man. It could be entertainment, and it could be something that's going to help people, but I think there's nothing like it on YouTube, bro.
Hell yeah, dude. We're going to be out there for sure. This episode for sure is going to be on YouTube. Like I said, I just need to, set aside that time to get on my computer so that I can start figuring out how to cut and paste RSS feeds and put it on YouTube and shit. Because the app that I use used to be able to have a way to put shit on YouTube, but I didn't have the channel going yet. You know what I mean? So now that I do have a fucking channel, and that's another thing too, dude. When we can even do these things, we can do YouTube lives. Like I have the capability to go live, and you don't even have to have a premium account, but maybe the next time we do this, we can actually fucking do it like video if you feel up to it. You can fucking even wear a mask or some shit, whatever the fuck you want to do. We don't even really have to put ourselves out there. Or we can do it like this. I mean, I figure either way, shit, it's all fucking raw and real, and fucking something that a lot of people aren't really doing right now, dude. Everybody's worried about clout and fucking status, and you know what I mean? It's like we're just fucking getting down to the fucking raw dog of life, dude.
Dude, you just came up with a whole new fucking you're even gonna have, if we start this, you're gonna have to rename it like a different type of podcast, like fuck, I don't even know what you'd call it, but it'd be just like you and me discussing like crazy shit, mental health, and maybe having some guests on, like that Busey guy who fucking got in a motorcycle wreck and he's all crazy and one eye's all jacked up and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
And get crazy guests. It doesn't have to be Gary Busey. Get crazy guests also that go through that and have them go through their story. And it'll be like Joe Rogan for the mentally, what do you call it?
Unstable.
the mentally devastated or whatever. You know what I mean? It'll be cool, man. I think it'll definitely. I think it'll be successful, bro. So you got to think of a name for this this new podcast, bro, and it'll take off. I guarantee it.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, I fucking appreciate you being here, man. We'll fucking get something going. Fucking help people get to that fucking place where they don't have to worry about, being ashamed or being unable to talk or being able to work things out, because when you can hear some other crazy motherfuckers talking about some shit, but we're some pretty sane dudes, you know what I mean? So the fact that we can talk about this from a clear headspace, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know, dude. I think it's definitely something the world needs to hear, man. I love you though, brother. I appreciate you being here. You're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was great, man. Time went by quick, dude. I enjoyed it. We should have done it sooner. And let me know. Text me as soon as you edit and post the episodes, bro.
Sounds good, man. It'll be out at Wednesday, 4:20 a.m., dude.
Wednesday,
4:20 a.m., my brother.
Awesome, dude. Okay, man. I'll be looking for it, bro.
All right, sounds good, brother. I love you, man.
Love you too, man. Have a good night.
You too, bro. Later.
All right, bye.
And as things go, it didn't end up being that following Wednesday on 4:20. Instead, it was now. But it's okay, because everything happens for a reason, and you got to go with the flow. And of course, my bro ended up coming up with the title for the podcast, and that was Same Blood, Different Struggles. Thanks for joining us, and be here next time to see what's up. Love y'all.